Match week 24 and 25 in the books. United, 3 matches, dropping points in 2 of them. We'll break down the results of each of the 3 matches. Tottenham, with games in hand, no more, and failed to capitalize with 2 losses. City keep rolling in their 2 matches. Newcastle are officially hot. They're streaking. All that and everything else from the past 2 match weeks on this episode of the Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Oh, yeah. Back in the saddle.
Wow, back from Dubai, our winter holiday.
We look so tan.
Very tan. We're looking like Ben White out here. We picked up some tattoos, some jewelry.
Yes.
Back refreshed, revitalized.
And ready for Everton. Ready for Super Frank.
Ready for something. That's for sure.
First match week 24, Newcastle, Everton, St. James. To the lineups: Dubravka, Schär, Lascelles, Target, Trippier, Joelinton, Shelvey, Willock, St. Maximin, Wood, Fraser. For Everton, we got Pickford, Holgate, Keane, Mina, Allen, Townsend, Andre Gomes, Seamus Coleman, Richarlison, Damari Gray, and Anthony Gordon. In this one, spells of possessions throughout for both. Defenses, mainly Everton, look pretty shaky early in the first half, and both midfields were just putrid for the most part as far as getting things going in attack. But I've seen them look worse this year, I suppose. They did look marginally improved.
Are you talking about Newcastle? Or?
Both.
Okay.
They still looked bad, but they looked slightly better.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that isn't really saying much because both of these teams have been quite awful at times.
Yes, I know. That's what I was phrasing it with. 2 own goals. First by Lascelles off a set piece. Kind of Holgate's the one that is putting it in, and then it goes off Lascelles. And then the second one's by Holgate, which was originally put in by Lascelles, so kind of very strange.
Own goalception or something.
Yes. Joelinton, big chance, blew it. He just fell over his feet in the middle of the box. Very unfortunate right before the end of the first half. Second half, bad handball, miscalled, edge of the box for Newcastle, and then play not allowed to continue as Newcastle was approaching the box on a counterattack. So some breaks not going Newcastle's way.
Ref ball.
Yes. Defense into offense as the Newcastle take the ball off Everton in their own end. The passing sequence results in a cross from ASM to Fraser for a goal. 2-1. Just poor marking by Everton.
Scrappy Doo, Ryan Fraser. We got
soft
talls
shot.
and smalls. We got Ryan Fraser and Chris Wood out there. Really, that's what you expect out of Newcastle. I mean,
Everton's attack in the second half looking decent, by Everton standards, wasn't as bad. Gordon's foul on St. Maximin. And Newcastle, they play it out, okay. And I guess I should have phrased it earlier in the game, but there was some, Newcastle not playing it out for Everton, and now Everton decided to not play it out this time.
Some gamesmanship.
Yeah, and Newcastle immediately come down and score, but Chris Wood was offside. If they would have scored because Everton didn't play it out, my sides would have been in orbit from laughing.
Few things can be more Everton than that.
And then to make it 3-1, the Trippier free kick set up by a foul from Allen on the edge of the box. And, I mean, from there on, Everton really just didn't have much movement and attack. Newcastle even had the best chance to close out the game. They had a 3-on-2 counter, and Murphy hit the post. But it ends 3-1. This was just a poor showing from Everton. I would say the one bright spot for me when I looked at them was Van de Beek when he was on. Actually looked kind of okay. Mm-hmm. He's a nice 8 that provides balance between and a connection between the defense and the attack. But
yeah, something that Everton is severely lacking, any sort of creativity in the midfield.
Yeah. And not even
in the midfield.
necessarily like every pass is going forward, but the side to side and knowing,
yeah,
and then being able to pick your spots. But yeah, other than Van de Beek, and then we'll get to Gordon in the other game. He's a little better than this one, but he's still showing flashes. It's tough for Everton. Dele Alli looked like trash out there in this game.
Who would have guessed? Not me.
Yeah, it's as far as Newcastle go.
That's a big win.
That makes it 2. You get a win against Leeds. Now you got this one against Everton. You're scoring goals. Your defense doesn't look too terrible.
Yeah.
And I think, we talked about Newcastle's transfer needs. And I kind of said that 6 was what they mainly needed, and then center back, but they're very close. I mean, Dan Burn's come in, and we know about Dan Burn here.
We all love Dan Burn.
He's been amazing for them. We still haven't seen Bruno G, really.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that, but at least Dan Burn, that's been solid. And then you talked about their transfer plans a few podcasts ago. It's like just bring in quality as much as you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Trippier has been amazing for them.
Yeah, he's been the guy who's kind of led the charge out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
I mean, you putting up 3 goals, that'll do nicely,
Yep.
Anytime you put up 3 goals, you have a good chance of winning the game. Conceding 1 goal, not bad. Own goal, whatever. But yeah, Newcastle, it's surprising how fast it changed around. But just kind of the culmination of new players, new manager coming in. And
speaking of new manager, rough one for Frank Lampard to start.
Yeah, I mean, now it's tough to go to St. James's Park away. No matter how bad Newcastle is, it's a very tough environment to play.
Yeah, I think even you could just tell this was a team. Sometimes you'll get the manager that gets a spark from their team and they can play well, and sometimes the team just looks kind of like they don't know what they're doing. It was definitely one of those. They didn't look like they...
And hard to make an impact so early on.
Exactly. Only, gosh, he didn't have 2 full weeks to train. He just had almost like 1 or 1.5 even. So, not to mention they're bringing in new guys, trying to get them acclimated to the team. So
I don't know. I've lost track of time while I was in Dubai.
That's true. We were spending too much time with Jay Ling's, having a good time.
Yeah.
One of Jay Ling's old clubs, West Ham, they're taking on Watford, the battle of the W's.
To W.
To the lineups.
To
Take
the
it away.
lineups. West Ham, Fabianski, Cresswell, Zuma. Don't get me going on Zuma, Mr. Cat Kicker himself. Fresh off of the cat kicking.
Yeah, so much happened when we were gone.
It's crazy. It feels like it's been ages.
It really has.
I mean, how many cats has he abused in that time span?
Too many.
Too many. Donate to your local animal shelter, folks. Sufal, Dawson, Fernals, Bowen, Benrahma, Suchek, Rice, and Mikel Antonio up top. For Watford, old man Ben Foster, Kamara, Cathcart, Feminia, Samir, Cleverly, Sissoko, Kuchka, Kayembe, Josh King, and Emmanuel Denise.
Yeah, this one...
This one was a game.
To say the least.
It was.
West Ham, able to control possession for most of the half, but just unable to, create... First off, they didn't create a ton of quantity or quality, for that matter. There weren't that many chances. It's not like Watford's defense was, spectacular. They're just kind of doing enough. I would say that Watford honestly looked better in attack just because their counterattack is one of those games where it appeared to be on for the most part. I will say that we wondered about Hodgson coming in, and not saying he's doing an amazing job or anything, but at least he's holding up the defense enough for now. And I mean, part of that's bringing in higher quality players, not like Samir's amazing or anything, but what they had out there, Truce to Kong and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely got them working more as a unit, settled into that kind of 4-4-2. It's not going to be pretty.
Yep.
But, he's just in there to do a job, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and it felt like Watford's chances were always ending up at the feet of someone else other than Dennis in this game, which was pretty unfortunate. The best chance was Kuchka, who sent a header just wide of the post. I think even Benrahma kind of had a goal line clearance in the first half from what I remember. That was Watford. Watford had a goal line clearance on Benrahma, so that was the two best chances. So we've been here with West Ham before, where it's against these smaller teams, they just can't get it going.
Yeah.
Second half, similar to how the first half was going. Just Watford less possession, but winning the ball in midfield. I mean, that's already a good sign enough for Watford because they struggle to do that. They're, able to kind of push forward, but they can't really do much with it.
Yeah.
West Ham get the goal, created from Lanzini, running from the halfway line, just ran straight through the middle of the field and passed it straight forward to Bowen, who just dribbled straight forward. Sometimes you just got to keep it simple and go straight forward.
Absolutely.
Shot off Samir and in 1-0. West Ham come back down. Another dangerous chance against Watford, but not taken. So, I mean, this game, a lot of it is just West Ham holding possession at the end. Maybe one or two chances for Watford, but nothing too threatening.
Right.
I'd say the best chance came at the very end from João Pedro, who made the move, but no one able to get on the ball across the 6-yard box. So it goes 1-0 to West Ham.
Yeah, this one seemed kind of like one that you could just kind of predict that's how it would go.
Yeah, if anything, you might have suspected a draw or something, but yeah, it's, West Ham, good on them to get the result. Watford might feel slightly hard done by it, but again, he didn't create that many chances, so I don't think
Jared
really
Bowen with another goal.
What can you say?
He's got to be called up for England.
One of England's finest, yep.
Moving on to the next game. Burnley versus Manchester United. You knew this one was going to be a real doozy just because it's Burnley versus United. And, United are kind of a hot mess. So, getting to the lineups. Burnley, Nick Pope, Tarkovsky, me, Connor Roberts, Eric Peters, Josh Brownhill, Dwight McNeil, Westwood, Cornet, Wout Weghorst, and Jay Rodriguez, the new look up front. For Manchester United, David De Gea, Maguire, Varane, Dalot, Luke Shaw, Pogba,
He's back.
Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho, Scott McTominay, and Edinson Cavani. No Ronaldo starting. Interesting.
This is a strange lineup.
It is a very strange lineup.
This game.
But, United going to unite, and that's what they do. Starting off the game, they had a really good start, United did. 12th minute, Varane gets on the end of a set piece from Bruno. Unfortunately, VAR disallows it due to Maguire being in an offside position and affecting play.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really feel like he was affecting the play that much.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know how they call it.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's weird that this is like the one thing that they're consistent on.
Yeah.
And it's consistently.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Results in a lot of very.
It's okay.
Strange goals.
You got a Pogba slot coming up here.
18th minute, Paul Pogba on the return Beautiful pullback from Luke Shaw, running down the wing. Nice ball into the box to Paul Pogba, who slots it home. And United take the lead. So you're thinking, wow, 18 minutes in, United are up 1-0. Things are going great. Cavani scores again, but Pogba
Offside in the build-up.
offside. I have it written as a foul, but yeah.
Maybe it was a foul.
I think you were right. I think it was. I think they thought it was a foul, and then it was
Yeah.
offside. Yeah. Nick Pope forced into a big save. Goes into halftime 1-0. Burnley were getting more into the game
As
as
the half went
went
on. Absolutely.
That's something really disappointing from a United perspective. You go up 1-0 pretty early, and then you just kind of let off the gas and allow Burnley to get back into the game. And we all know if you give Burnley an inch back into the game, eventually they'll take it.
Yeah. This United side right now reminds me a lot of, not necessarily play style wise, but Chelsea last year in terms of where they're just like, for like 15-minute stretches, just
Yeah.
completely like have a lobotomy and like don't know how to play.
Yeah. And
And then the
they have-
other half is like, they're perfectly fine.
Right.
Playing amazing.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I mean, you have Cavani coming in, and usually he looks pretty good, and then all of a sudden it just kind of drops off. Coming out of halftime, 47th minute, Jay Rodriguez gets the equalizer. Great piece of skill and a beautiful pass from the
Voet.
tall man, the tall Dutchman, Wout Weghorst. I'm watching this game, and I'm like, I love this guy already. Like, he's so tall, but
he's a good meme. I like that they're just hoofing it forward to him and he's trying to head it down. I think that I'm sure that in a few games coming up they'll just get a result solely of the fact that he's going to be much stronger in the air in aerial duels
yeah,
against center backs, and he can just flick it on for Cornet.
there's something to be said about just having that big guy up front.
Yes.
Classic Burnley fashion. You love it. I mean, you hate it when it's against you, but
Yes.
Weghorst has a nice volley, saved by De Gea. But after that, the conditions got pretty rough. Rainy, windy, classic
Burnley.
Burnley kind of playing conditions that they love to play in. And
Yes. Yeah. United just not much going in this one. I thought that we'll get to it in the other game. He was a little better, but Bruno's starting to play a little better in these games. But United with this strange lineup that they threw out this game, you couldn't
Right.
really see it as much.
yeah, these are the types of games you really got to dig deep. Like on paper, it should be an easy game, but it's away to Burnley. Conditions favor Burnley.
Yeah.
You let them get back into the game, and then it becomes a lot more difficult after that. So another disappointing game for United. The trend continues.
Yeah, I mean, good result for Burnley, but United, like I said, it's like Bruno's been playing pretty well, and you don't have him out there. I get you got to rotate the squad and stuff, but it's like
It's weird, though, because it's like you're rotating the squad after you had like 2 weeks off.
yeah, it's very
Like, why do
very
you got to
strange.
rest Ronaldo? You don't,
Especially when
need to
Bruno
rest
was
Ronaldo
struggling
right
for a
now.
while. Now he's finally playing better. It's like you should probably keep him out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't understand Ralph Rangnick, the puppet master of Klopp and Tuchel as we know it.
Yeah, it hasn't gone to plan.
Are
I
we
think that's
sure?
safe to say.
Oh God. Well, let's talk about something that went to plan for a different Manchester team. Man City, Brentford, the other lineups: Ederson, Diaz, Stones, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Sterling, Mahrez, Foden. For Brentford, Raya, Ayer, Pinnock, Janssen, Onyeka, Henry, Norgard, Jensen, Roslev, Canos, and Godos.
I like seeing Godos get a start, even though
My
Ivan Toney.
eyes didn't like it in this game. He was looking stinky out there.
Well, what are you gonna do?
They
He
got
had
to
that one
throw it.
amazing goal, so
True. City as you would suspect, a lot of holding possession often in this one early on. And it looked like their main strategy on this one was, especially, it felt like every possession ended in them lofting one at the back post. Whether it went out for a corner or Brentford cleared it, or Raya claimed it or whatever, it felt like everything resulted in that. It was very strange.
Oh, I forgot to mention David Raya. Back.
Yes.
I thought he wasn't going to be back
No. Yeah, I thought
while.
it was going to be more like April, but
Yeah.
no Losel and no Manny Fernandez.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to the Southampton tier keeping rotation. Yeah, Brentford, I don't know. There's definitely bend, don't break. They're pretty sloppy at times with defensive actions, which kind of opened it up for City a little bit, but they made the clearances when they had to. Raya had a great sweeper kind of play to keep the game at 0-0, stole it right off Sterling's foot, the tap-in merchant himself. Chances throughout for a bunch of different guys for City. Laporte had one just go wide. But, and another note, going back to Brentford, they're just not able to counterattack well in this first half. It's like they get the ball, they might hoof it forward, but Goodos might hold it up, but no one's there, and they can't get set up, really. It was bad for Brentford in the first half. Towards the end of the first half, Sterling, running the end line, slows up, looking for the contact, and gets it. Bad play. I believe it was Roslev, just crashed into his back. It's either... with the way he's slowing down, he's going to turn probably towards the corner or maybe stand one up. Like, he's not going to do anything else if he's standing still there. But
Right.
Poor challenge. Mahrez converts 1-0.
Yeah, that was very stupid foul.
Yeah. Second half, City go more through Cancelo, for sure, is what I noticed about their strategy. Him just facilitating and making his runs. Some crosses, but not nearly as much back post runs. And just City able to dominate Brentford, and Brentford not being able to capitalize, really, and their couple chances. Second goal, off a giveaway, David Raya channeled his inner Losel / Manny Fernandez, giving the ball away, which Raz shot right at the goalie, but De Bruyne able to fall at home, 2-0. I would say the last notable sequence was a big save by Raya on Rodri, but 2-0 City, very comfortable.
Cruise Control FC.
Yeah, not much Brentford's going to be able to do in this one. Yeah, that's about it with that one.
Yeah. Another loss for Brentford.
Oof. Brentford and Leeds. I think I spoke too soon when I said that, they might be out of the clear for relegation.
Yeah.
A little too soon.
Speaking of relegation, we got Norwich.
What do they have to do with it?
And they're playing Crystal Palace. Lineups: Angus Gunn in net. Max Aarons, Gibson, Hanley, Williams, Placheta, Rashica, Lise Malou, Hank Sky, Kenny McLean, Timo Pukki, and Adam Ida.
I didn't realize, but on there it says the minute they're subbed out on.
Yes.
And I didn't realize the number is next to him. So I thought he was number 64 for a minute there. I could see a guy like Placheta being number 64 for some reason.
If only. For Palace, Guaita, Joel Ward, Dirk Mitchell, Mark Gahey, Joachim Anderson. In the midfield, Hughes, Schlupp, Gallagher. Up front, Olise, Zaha, and Mateta.
I like that lineup for
Yeah.
Palace.
I like that lineup. That's more what I want to see. Those younger guys.
Maybe
Mateta,
somehow rotate
Olise.
Schlupp out for. He's not been bad, but ideally, with the way MacArthur is going.
Yeah,
earlier.
right. And if you're gonna play Schlupp, ideally it's more of a wing role.
Yeah, he's going to be covering generally fullbacks and stuff, but this one started fast.
Lightning fast start. Timo Pukki gets the goal in the first minute.
Ida with the assist. We told you, Norwich. You just got to put him in and have faith. That's all you can do.
They just march down there and they say, "Don't mind if I do." Smack it off the post and in. Very nice. And then after that, you're thinking, okay, well, there's no way Norwich can hold a lead for 89 minutes of the game.
And that's where you were right.
They scored too soon.
Yes.
And by too soon, I mean way too soon. Palace looked the better side with possession, but in terms of creating chances, it wasn't really all that good. Pretty disappointing from Palace's perspective not to be creating more chances against Norwich.
Yeah.
43rd minute, Mateta scores, ruled offside. So it goes into halftime, Norwich up 1-0. They're pretty happy with that. But,
yes.
But after that, Palace steps up their game in the second half, start creating some better chances, and then there's a big moment in the 59th minute where Wilfried Zaha says, "Don't mind if I do."
Bends it
like Zaha into the top corner to equalize. And just moments later, a penalty is awarded.
Yeah, you thought it was all falling apart for Norwich at this point.
Speaking of bad penalties, Max Aarons just takes down Turk Mitchell.
Yeah, that was no good for no reason.
Another terrible foul in the box.
But what was worse, that foul or the penalty?
One of the worst penalties I've ever seen. Wilfried Zaha steps up, scuffs it, slowly rolls wide.
I mean, he made it seem like he slipped or something, but even if it slipped a little bit, that was always coming off his back heel, the heel part of his foot.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was.
No. That was, I think Roy Hodgson could take a better pen than that.
I don't doubt it.
That was pathetic. And it cost Palace the 3 points right there. I mean, come on.
Tough scene.
Dropping points to Norwich, not ideal. And Palace's away record this season, only 1 win away.
Yeah, could have been 2.
A lot of points left on the table there.
Yeah, finishes 1-1. Solid result for Norwich. Like you said, disappointing for Palace. It really comes down to Palace attack. Just for whatever reason, this game was not going. And I don't think it had really much to do with Norwich's defensive effort.
Right.
To say the least.
Yeah, it definitely was more of Palace not being able to create.
Let me tell you about creating. Let me tell you about one of my favorite games of the year. Tottenham, Southampton, to the lineups. Lloris, Romero, Davison Sanchez, Ben Davies, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Winks, Royale, Son, Kane, Mora. We got Mr. Fraser Forster, who's establishing himself in the elite tier of goalkeepers again out of nowhere. Kyle Walker-Peters, Perot, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeo, Ward-Prowse, Stu Armstrong, El Nuesi, Che Adams, and Brauja.
Brauja. Hello, Mr. Brauja.
Stop me if you've heard Southampton starting strong early.
Record scratch.
Southampton holding possession early. Should score through Adams, but massive save by Lloris on your guy, Mick Adams.
J. McAdams.
Some chances
the
for
pride
Tottenham.
Of Scotland.
They had some free kick chances, one disallowed goal, and a counterattack, which Reguilon one-on-one with Fraser Forster and got absolutely stuffed. That was a terrible shot. He shot it right at Fraser Forster.
Insert record scratch number 2.
But that's a big man right there.
He is quite large. He's an absolute unit.
Nice long ball with this passing sequence leads to a through ball to Højbjerg, who squares it to Son, but Bednarak, own goal, 1-0, Tottenham. You might say undeserved. But hey, they were creating some chances too.
You put the biscuit in the basket.
Southampton comes back firing with a James Ward-Prowse chance, a few corners, then a giveaway by Sam's guy, Ben Davies, gifts Southampton a goal. Great pass by Perot.
The pride of Wales.
Nice little turn the foot by Broja to redirect it. First time. Beautiful. Next best chance comes through Stu Armstrong and Broja, both in on goal. Could not finish. Sam, this is Tottenham defense right now.
You're telling me the Tottenham defense isn't good? Come on, Davison Sanchez, Ben Davies.
More chances for Southampton. One from a corner, not claimed by Lloris, was blocked by Davies, and a rocket from Perot that shook the crossbar. Southampton, clearly the better side, and Tottenham, it's part of their defense, part of their midfield too, but just so sloppy giving the ball away, and their clearances just like not getting cleared whatsoever. Southampton able to get to these second balls, third balls, so going in 1-1 at half. But no, this Tottenham defense, we talked about it earlier this year and like how they're clearly the most fragile part of Tottenham, and they have to be protected in terms of if you're going to get results, you kind of have to morph around them because it's so shit.
Right. Yeah, they look okay when you're parking the bus and playing on the counterattack.
Yeah.
Any other times, like that game against Chelsea, that was another example where they just got blown open.
Yeah. And even then they were sitting back, but they were still giving up chances. So, like, if the team's good enough quality-wise, which apparently Southampton are. I didn't know that. I didn't know Southampton were good enough to
come on, Hank. You knew it deep inside. You knew it. You've always known it.
Yeah, and let me just quick pull up Tottenham's
and let me just
squad.
say, this is the guy who's wearing the Southampton jacket right now. He didn't know that Southampton were this good.
Did anyone really? Back three of Davies, Romero, Sanchez. I don't mind Romero so far. He's been the only one that like seems organized.
Yeah. But having
the rest
one
of
good
their
defender is
they
about
don't even
as good
have
as
like they could put
newspaper
Joe
reads.
Rodon in, I guess. Matt Doherty. Those are like all their defensive guys. Sessegnon. This is just.
It is amazing to think about like how much they've used Sanchez for like how not good he is.
Well, he disappeared for, it seemed like a good while last year.
Got sent to the Mourinho dungeon.
Yeah. Mourinho's like, wow, this guy is terrible. All right. Second half, Southampton. They continue to play well in attack due to lack of quality for Tottenham. Tottenham attack getting a little more involved, especially wide. And the game kind of opened up for a good while. 2-1 Tottenham out of nowhere. Tottenham has a questionable no call. Aerial challenge by Royale on Broja. A little elbow to the back of the head. Head injury. Not called. Play continues. Lucas to Son. Back post. Great pass. Great run. Southampton answer. Right back. Gain some possession. Whipped in ball. Sam's guy. James Ward-Prowse. Header unmarked. El Nuesi just in the middle of the box unmarked. And if you look at it, Royale has to cover two guys. One of them being El Nuesi. Can't commit to him in time. And then after the goal scored, Davison Sanchez turns around and yells at Royale. As Sanchez and Davies were marking the same guy. Southampton keep the foot on the gas as they stretch Tottenham's defense and work another cross to an unmarked Mick Adams for an upper 90 header, 3-2. And then you think Tottenham might have a chance. Sam's guy, Stevie B, Steven Bergwijn scores offside at the 93rd minute. 3-2 Southampton. When you get the team that blows all the leads, Southampton, and they muster a comeback against you, that's got to wreck your confidence. If you had any to begin with.
Yeah, I think it goes to show pulling out these wins, that last grasp winner against Leicester. Eventually you're going to revert to the norm. You can't just rely on those kind of spectacular feats to win you all the games.
Yeah.
You're going to be found out eventually.
Well, when you're up 2-1 and it's like the 75th minute,
at home.
And I was watching this game with my father. And he's like, "Oh, this game's probably over, right?" And I turned to him and I said, "No." I said no.
Never doubt Southampton.
And about 3 minutes later, El Nuesi wide open the box. I couldn't believe it. I could, but I couldn't. But then I really couldn't believe it when Trey Adams came down and scored again. That was unseen. Two just unmarked guys wide open in the box. Like, yes, they were good balls, but how do you just not have any organization to... I mean, you're clearly sitting back at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Scenes when Hank drops a CR7 on his own dad after proving him wrong. Never doubt Southampton again.
James Ward-Prowse. But, yeah, I mean, just to finish up, great win Southampton. Terrible result for Tottenham, especially for a team that has game in hands, and that's all you're pointing to. And then you immediately turn around and crap all over yourself. Tough scene, Tottenham.
Yeah, not ideal.
Speaking of more goals,
another hectic match. Aston Villa versus Leeds United. Getting to the lineups, Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Mings, Digne, Douglas, Luiz, McGinn, Jacob Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, and Philippe Coutinho. El Mago, as some say. For Leeds, Meslier, Ayling, Llorente, Stuart Dallas, Pascal Stroik. And I knew this game was over the second I saw this. Robin Koch
yeah, there
at
he
DM.
is.
I absolutely despise that. Rafinha, Rodrigo, Harrison, Click, and Danny James.
Talk about a click.
The real pride of Wales.
True.
Daniel James.
Speaking of Dan James, right off the bat.
Speaking of Dan James, this man cannot be stopped. 9th minute in, you got to say, against the run of play. But, hey, slots one home, bottom left corner. That's what he does. Hits on the counter. And he's starting to come to form for Leeds.
Yeah, he's starting to click, to say the least. No pun intended, as Reggie Miller would say.
Well,
I thought
see, that's the problem. You
it was
actually
a
used
pun.
a pun. Yeah.
I thought Rodrigo was pretty decent this game too.
Yeah, he had 2 chances that hit off the crossbar.
Yeah, that he was definitely making it happen. But when Dan James is on Hattrick watch, that's what you love to see out here.
Yeah.
And Villa's defense, have we seen under Stevie G? I mean, they lost 3-1 to Chelsea, but have we seen them where it's like they're just, I guess more a mid-table side, I guess I'm saying, or a club even lower than them, where it's just like, wow, this defense is not looking too good.
No, I would say this
like
is the first time.
Yeah, the first like shocking, like, oh wow.
Yeah, this game was interesting because it seemed like, Aston Villa was playing a bit more open than they have tended to so far under Stevie G. Sometimes Leeds can do that to you.
Yes. You
Put
get
you out
caught
of
up
the
in
game
the
plan.
Leeds game, and you're like, we're just going to beat them at what they do pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first half, great levels of intensity in this one. And then 30th minute, Matty Cash finds Coutinho in the box, turns and shoots into the bottom left-hand corner. 1-1. Aston Villa get their goal.
Coutinho, man, he's looking really good out there.
Coutinho, this guy is nuts. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, now, what's his name? Stevie G wants to bring in James Milner in the summer on a free. He's just bringing back all the Liverpool lads.
Is that true?
It is true. I saw that.
I did not see that. But sure, why not? Then the 38th minute, Aston Villa on a hot streak. Coutinho finds Ramsey, who gets in behind and scores.
Our Villa lad, Mr. Ramsey.
Oh, Ramsey, this
We're big
kid
on him.
is so good. I feel like people are really sleeping on him.
Yes.
People who don't watch, teams
Aston Villa.
outside of like the top 6 or something, but
Yeah.
a fantastic young player. And then again, they add a third goal before halftime. Jacob Ramsey scores with a stunning finish into the top corner. Another assist for none other than Philippe Coutinho.
Goal and 2 assists. That's wild. I mean, that's more than I really expected.
Mm-hmm.
even just throughout his lone spell here, and now he's just doing this game in, game out. He's really killing it.
Yeah, you really didn't see this one coming, but
no, he couldn't get on at Barca, and sometimes you just need some game time and a fresh start.
Yeah, it seemed like
Well, there's probably some comfort too with Stevie G being there and stuff. It's not like a whole new fresh start, but
yeah, I'm not a big Barcelona fan, but it seemed like he never really got settled into that team. And then eventually it was just the money issue, and they wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, it seems like no one gets settled at Barca these days.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the game. Just before the break of halftime, Dan James pulls one back for Leeds.
Officially on Hattrick watch now for the whole second half.
A very scrappy goal, but a goal nonetheless.
Yes.
And you got to say, disappointing for Villa to give up a goal
right before half.
And that's one, you score right before half, you get a little momentum.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in the game. Goes in halftime 3-1, different story. You got to say. So disappointing from Aston Villa on that perspective. You just got to focus, hold your concentration, get to halftime with the 3-1 lead. But they did not. So it goes into halftime 3-2. And then they gave them the opportunity to get back into the game. And in the 63rd minute, they did. Llorente from the corner. Cool, as you like.
Poor clearance on Villa on that one, I thought. It was a good initial save by Martinez. I want to say, was it Struijk or Cock?
Yeah, it was Struijk.
Yeah, on the original one, and then they couldn't clear it. Goes to Llorente, smashes it home.
Yep. And then in the 87th minute, Konsa gets a second yellow card trying to block Meslier from distributing the ball.
What are you doing?
Really needless when you're on a yellow card. Got sent off. We've seen Villa have those kind of issues earlier in the season with some red card issues. And
yeah, even under Smith, there's only so much you can do as a manager sometimes, guys, if they have the wrong attitude or frame of mind. And I mean, look, they just blew a 2-goal lead, and I'm sure that there's part of frustration about it, but you got to keep your cool in that situation and not just do dumb things that'll completely hurt your team. Doesn't fully cost them anymore, but finishes 3-3. They get the point.
Yep, finishes 3-3. I feel like not enough emphasis was put onto the disappointment from a Villa perspective.
Oh, 100%.
To give up that 3-1 lead. You know, almost going into halftime with 3-1 lead.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds have been playing better minus the Newcastle game, obviously. But, this... And Villa, the team that, never draws. I think they have 2 draws on the year. They blow this one. So, poor result for Villa. Something to build on for Leeds going
definitely.
forward.
Moving on. Liverpool and Leicester City.
To the lineups. Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Thiago, Curtis Jones, Firmino, Jota, Mr. Diaz, the new debut, the debutant. For Leicester, Schmeichel, Justin, Amarte, Ndidi, Thomas, Maddison, Albrighton, Dewsbury Hall, Lookman, Sumare, Daka. Leicester, some good chances early on through Maddison. Save from Alisson, and I'll just finish my point, but an interception which eventually found Maddison, but couldn't play it through to Daka, who would have been one-on-one with the keep. There's something wrong with Liverpool right now in terms of that, you won't hear talking points really, but this defense is so shaky, and if they didn't have one of, you could probably say the best keeper in the world, at least one of the best 5 or 3, in Alisson, they would be SOL.
Yeah, it's not the level we've come to get used to out of Liverpool. Normally they have solid defense, Van Dijk holding it down, but this year that's one of those things that hasn't really been talked about too much, but there have been a lot of moments where it's just really poor defending. Very exposed, defense starts, in the midfield.
Yeah.
Some might even say up front, but
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's a problem with, part of it, Keita and Fabinho have been playing better and stuff, but I feel like a lot of it's going to fall on that second center back with Van Dijk.
yeah.
It seems like he's not on the same page as whether it's Matip or Konate, mainly Matip lately, but even we saw in the Chelsea game with Konate.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something off about it right now. And I mean, I don't think it's going to matter because they're not going to challenge for the title. I think they're a little too far off, but I guess as far as like their Champions League aspirations, that's definitely something to watch. Back to the game. First best chance for Liverpool comes through Trent Alexander-Arnold. Shot saved by Schmeichel. But then we get a goal from Diogo Jota. Was a rebound from the save on Van Dijk off a corner. Just the zonal marking from Leicester on corners. We've seen them on set pieces this whole year. I've just been abysmal. But, the marking was just tragic. What else is there to say about Leicester at this point? I mean, Vestergaard might be up there for just like worst signing of the year.
Yeah, I can't really think of anyone who was worse.
Yeah.
That
even
played,
Leicester's. Soumare's been terrible too.
Yeah.
The only real decent signing for Leicester's been Daka, but he hasn't even been amazing. So
he's more been.
But he was always going to be a work in progress with this team, getting him acclimated because you're still planning on Vardy being the main guy. So
right, and he's kind of at the mercy of whatever else is happening at Leicester.
True.
Their attack not really clicking.
Yes. I mean, this game is filled with shots from Liverpool. Just, I don't know, a lot of them were just at Schmeichel. He had, I think, 10 saves in this game on the 12 attempts, but they're just right at him for the most part. Liverpool definitely success in the air throughout the entire field on this one. Salah, once coming on, believe it or not, was massive for Liverpool. It was quite the step up. He was clear on goal for a chance. Could not score. VAR checked for pen. Was not. Diaz came on. Well, not came on, but in terms of play, came on. Had a chance, saved. Good little passing sequence and pressure from Liverpool in the attack allows Jota to score a second. Schmeichel couldn't get everything on it, but finishes 2-0. Kind of boring game in this one. Leicester, I think, are up there for like five worst teams to watch.
Yeah, definitely this year.
So
normally they're pretty fun to watch, but
yeah,
not this year. They've been pretty dire.
There's a lot of talks about Jota and where he ranks on the world stage lately. I forget who it was, but someone said that he's the best number 9 in the world at the moment.
Wow. That's
I disagree, but
yeah, I would disagree as well.
But no, good result for Liverpool. I guess, keep the pressure on City. You never know, but as far as Leicester go, you might as well just punt the season away.
Yeah,
play some
very
younger guys or
disappointing.
something. This is it's putrid to have to watch some of these experienced guys. Like, what's Albrighton doing for you?
Right.
Really? Like, why is he out there?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier in the season, like, Leicester, they'll get going. They'll get it together. They just never have.
No.
And it's kind of always been this scramble, like...
Mix of injuries, mix of questionable decisions from Brendan Rodgers. I mean, finally, the talk has kind of turned against Rodgers, and rather than he's going to United, it's like, is he going to last at Leicester?
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't had any European success, and even though they're getting in the spots, and as far as the Premier League, it's 2 chances at the Champions League, he blew them. And now this year they've crapped all over themselves.
Underperformed, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Let's talk about 2 teams that I think the general public would say are overperforming this year.
Yes. Wolves and Arsenal. Starting off with the Wolves lineup, Saw, Cody, Kilman, Saiz, Marsal, Neves, Semedo, Dendoncker, Jimenez, Podence, and Trincao. For Arsenal, Ramsdale, Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel, Cedric Suarez, no Tomiyasu yet, still injured. In the midfield, Thomas Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Xhaka, Martinelli, and up front, Lacazette. This was an interesting game because on paper you have two teams that have pretty solid defenses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how the game shaped out. You had kind of like a midfield war of attrition type game going on.
Yeah.
There were times when both sides, had their moments where they looked the better side. Wolves had some nice plays where they, maybe get a ball in behind and you think almost a chance at scoring, but never really came to fruition.
Yeah.
And overall, you would say probably Arsenal looked more likely to score, just overall.
Yeah, even coming in this game, you probably, if we were to have predicted, I probably would have said like goalless draw, 1-0 to either side. But, I think I trust Arsenal in general to score more than Wolves. But is that is that 2 games ago against Burnley? Or is that technically last? I think that might have been the last time we had a pod.
Yeah.
But that game, I think, kind of might have thrown me off the scent in terms of Arsenal just, maybe that day they just didn't have it. But, in general, Arsenal, a good attacking side. So,
Yeah, coming into this game, I wasn't super confident. Rough January for Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
But they looked a lot better than I expected. I felt like they were a little more confident and were willing to, push the ball forward up the pitch.
Yes.
Coming in the 25th minute, Mr. Gabriel.
I think it was from, Ben White, the assist on that one?
It says Lacazette.
Maybe it was, I know Ben White, maybe he got like the pass to assist or something, but he had a big little play in there. But, yeah, big time goal for Arsenal. It seems like Gabriel's one of those guys who will just pop up when you need him to get one for a defender.
Yeah, pops up on a lot of set pieces. He's a big lad.
Yes.
So that was a big goal for Arsenal. Goes into halftime, 1-0. Very tight game. Second half, Arsenal come out. They look pretty good, pushing for a second goal. And then disaster strikes.
Yes.
In true Arsenal fashion. As one of the strangest plays. The other Gabriel. One of the strangest plays you'll ever see. The double yellow card on one play.
Yes.
The thing of FIFA Legends. 69th minute. Gabriel Martinelli. First, he stops the throw-in from being thrown in, but it still gets thrown in. Michael Oliver plays the advantage, and then Martinelli goes down and takes out, I forget who he was, Semedo, maybe?
I think so.
Very much a yellow card offense.
Yes.
And you could say both of them, in their own right, were yellow card offenses. What are your thoughts on that? This situation?
Well, we've seen somewhat similar situation in terms of Raul Jimenez, since we're talking about Wolves. We got the back-to-back yellows pretty much, and one of them started because he's standing in the way.
But at least that was, technically, there was a whistle in between those.
Yeah, I mean, you never really see and even sometimes you see, a guy subbed on and, a yellow a minute, and then, 2 minutes later gets a second yellow or something. But the on one play that's a specialty. It's like the golden sombrero or something in baseball. You strike out 4 times on 12 pitches.
From my understanding of the rules, this shouldn't happen.
I agree. As an Arsenal supporter, my team should not have. No, I'm just kidding. But
the thing being, the throw-in, it should have been whistled on the throw-in.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't a legit throw-in.
Yes.
Technically.
That threw me off too about it. Is it's if there's that occurrence happening on the throw-in and it's technically like an illegitimate throw in.
Yeah.
How does it continue?
How can you play the advantage when it happened
During a dead ball.
when the ball wasn't in play?
Yeah.
So technically that should be whistled right there, yellow card given to him.
I guess. Are you going to debate Michael Oliver? Are you going to call him out right here?
I am going to call out Michael Oliver. You know why? Because I think Michael Oliver, for some reason, I always thought Michael Oliver, best Premier League referee by quite a margin. But for some
Mike
reason,
Dean.
it seems like he's getting like this big ego. Like this one seemed like a real ego call with the double yellow card.
I always thought he had an ego from that famous clip of, I think he's giving Di Maria a card and he
Yes.
like turns because they like someone put their hand on his shoulder.
Yeah,
He, like,
Di
turned-
Maria did.
Yeah,
Gave him a red.
yeah, that's when I
was-
knew Michael Oliver was to not be trusted. He's
And
a
that was
chaos
against
ref.
Arsenal, actually.
Was
Yeah.
a chaos ref.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I saw online some people posted kind of similar things happening. I think there was one in the United game against Brighton where McTominay didn't get a yellow card for that same situation where he held the guy that was throwing in the ball.
Yeah.
Just very questionable refereeing. The standard of refereeing in the Premier League has been very
It's taking a dip.
subpar this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange. But anyways, Arsenal, can they hold on for the last 20 minutes? They throw on Mr. Big Rob Holding, who looks fantastic. He's got a new head of hair.
I was going to bring that up.
And pretty much they do what they do best, and that's play with 10 men because they're used to this scenario and they have a lot of experience. And they have the highest win rate when they're down a man.
I believe that.
So that's a fun fact.
Yeah, Arteta probably has him train with 10 men against 11 in the inner squad scrimmages.
Tactical red card.
We have to be prepared for this scenario. Yeah, no, great result for Arsenal. For your Wolves, you probably can't feel too hard done by it because the attack just wasn't really
Yeah.
clicking this game. But you'll probably be kicking yourself because you felt coming in you should have got at least a draw. But
Now, did you see Ruben Neves get a little salty?
I don't remember that.
He,
Is it after the game?
after game, either an interview or I don't think he tweeted. I think it was an interview. He said Arsenal were celebrating like they won the league or something.
Maybe they were. Do you consider that? Maybe they thought they won the league.
But I mean, when you hold on to a win like that, you know, all hands on deck.
Yes.
That's a big win, you know, in a tough game against a good opponent.
I couldn't blame Arsenal because they're a young team and they're pushing for a big milestone in top 4.
Yeah,
And Wolverhampton Wanderers, you are also pushing for that.
right.
So I can't blame
I mean-
Arsenal for being hyped.
To me, it should be more of a sign of respect towards Wolves, like that they viewed it as such a big win, you know, because Wolves are a quality side.
Well, you know,
And that's my opinion.
they channeled it in their next match is what they did in Matchweek 25.
Yeah. And one final point. Someone, I don't know who said this, but Arsenal right now, every game is like a cup final. That's how important these games are.
Yeah, when
So-
you're pushing for top 4.
So if you look at it from that perspective, maybe
Someone
you can
probably should
understand it a little
have said
bit.
that to Tottenham. They had 3 games in hand. And now they
Games
have no
in hand,
games in
FC.
hand. And guess what? They went down a spot.
Moving on to match week, number 25.
Oh, it's a doozy. It's United. It's Southampton. To the lineups: De Gea, Maguire, Varane, Dalot, Shaw, Pogba, Rashford, Fernandes, Sancho, McTominay, and Mr. Sue himself, Cristiano Ronaldo. Against Southampton, we got Forrester and net. Kyle Walker-Peters remained pro. Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Stu Armstrong, El Nuaci, Adams, and Brosia. You know, an interesting thing about Southampton on this one, it doesn't seem like Ralph is, or not Ralph, not fucking Mr. Ranić, even though it is so Ralph Hasenhudel, but we call him Hans.
There was
I did a roundabout way to
the wrong Ralph.
wrong Ralph.
Wrong Ralph. Wrong Ralph.
But no, we were talking earlier in the year about how he's kind of rotating quite a bit, and we were like confused by some of it.
Yeah.
He's not really rotating.
He's
that
got
much
his
anymore.
lineup now.
Until they lose like 9-0, then he's got to rotate again. And
Yeah, to be fair, it's got to be hard to change your lineup after the run of form that they've been on lately.
Exactly. We just need to free my boy Livermento, though.
True.
But, Perot's killing it.
Yeah. It's good to have that competition in the squad.
Especially at, like a wing-back
Yeah,
spot.
for sure.
United testing Southampton's defense early. Best chance coming through Ronaldo. Dribbles Fraser Forster, but, just not a great shot. I guess it's kind of cleared off line. It didn't even get to the line. It was just so soft. I thought he should have scored. Announcer said he should have scored, I think.
You heard it here, folks. Ronaldo soft.
Yes. Pogba right now. Instrumental to this United side. Where was he?
Talking about refreshed and revitalized.
He's got the Dubai treatment. Best chance in the first 10 minutes for Southampton comes off a giveaway and ends up at the back post. Unfortunately, Adams could not get there. That giveaway on that sequence where Fred just made like the dumbest run possible, laying it to nobody and then holding his arms out. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Lost where it was here for a second in the notes.
Lost in the Fred sauce.
We're all lost in the Fred sauce.
I know.
Yeah,
United
great.
are.
Oh, great 3-on-1 counterattack chance saved by Forrester. Sancho again should have scored. Not good, but they get a goal. United breaking the Southampton press out of the back. Very impressive passing sequence. Massive play by Bruno on the through ball to Rashford. Runs the midline. Runs from the midline all the way to the 18-yard box. Squares it. Sancho back post 1-0. United comfortable. Kind of sit in. Southampton's going to have their possession. It's just Southampton not really able to really threaten. I would say is mainly the shooting quality, and I guess the crossing wasn't too bad. It's just no one was really there. So the positioning and the shooting, not the best. I have this note in here. The announcer is complaining about Rashford's work rate. Have you been here at all, Mr. Announcer? Have you been? Hello?
That's the
Where
thing.
were you? The midfield defense for United, believe it or not, offering the slightest of resistance. So, great chance for Southampton before the half. Long throw, but the bounce on the volley, Armstrong couldn't handle it really. So the shot wasn't as perfect as it could have been, but De Gea still forced to make a save. United, another counterattack chance. CR7 not able to get the shot off. However, I wouldn't say he should have scored, but he should have at least got the shot off. Southampton gaining low momentum going into the end of the first half, start of the second half. And then there it is, just like the Burnley game. Man U defense pulled out of position due to excellent passing sequence. Just poor positioning. But Southampton able to go from Fraser Forster up the wing, capped off by Adams, far post. And it's just everyone. Like Pogba, Varane, Delot, and McTominay all had their chance to do significantly better. Just the lack of quality in United's defense at times is what keeps them from being good. Chances for Southampton even after the goal, so they're still open. Armstrong, I love Stu Armstrong. He's kind of playing bad right now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Could have laid it to El Nuesi, but did not. Man U starting to look kind of rattled a bit. Ronaldo and Delot, big chances. Big save required from Forrester on both. Armstrong had another chance as it went on, but I'd say the last thing was Broja had a chance at the end, but couldn't score. Man U quiet for the last 15 minutes. Ends 1-1. It was a pretty eventful game for it being 1-1, but I'd say props to Man U for limiting Southampton early. That's impressive with how Southampton starts against everyone. However, not props for playing like complete boneheads to start the second half again for back-to-back games.
Yeah. Where do United go from here is the question. I mean, it just doesn't seem like Rangnick is the guy.
No. I feel like I could have told you that coming into this. I think you knew it too, but I mean...
But really, I guess the problems are...
It's player-related.
Deep-rooted in the squad. And
yeah, it's 100% player personnel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Ole's tactics were terrible. He got him second last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a mix of you bring in these guys that bolster the squad in certain ways, but the baggage that they're bringing is going to cause more harm than good on the squad because you're not improving spots in the squad that are your weak point, but you're still bringing in guys that expect first team appearances constantly and stuff. So I don't know. It has to do with the rotation. I think you're creating a massive problem by not I can't really phrase what I'm trying to say, but there wasn't really a problem with rotation last year, and then you bring in all these superstar attack guys, and now there's a massive problem with rotation. It's like you pretty much created your own problem by not addressing what you really needed to address, I guess is what I'm saying, which is really that sixth spot.
Yeah.
And even
you brought
another
in guys
defender.
that you didn't need and didn't bring in guys that you do need.
Yes, and even the guys that you brought in, they're such high quality that they expect a ton of game time. So now you got to work on a rotation while making sure that everyone's still in good form. And they created a whole mess along with the mess they already had. That's where the season went wrong for them.
And you got a lot of guys who are me before the team.
Yes.
I mean, you go down that United lineup, and how many of those guys are me before the team?
Ronaldo, probably Sancho, probably Pogba. I mean, the only guy I'm looking at, Bruno might even be to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Juan Mata for sure.
You know Jesse Lingard is.
Yeah, I mean, it's... And you're not even, like, using guys like... I mean, Wan-Bissaka, I mean, clearly he's not even, like, good enough, really, unless he's just going to be a rotation guy, which I guess he should be. Lindelof, too. I mean, Lindelof's probably better than Varane at this point. Like, I don't know why he's not in there.
Yeah,
but
Lindelof was playing pretty good.
I just don't... The whole makeup of the squad makes no sense. They sacked Ole, which... I mean, I guess it had to be done anyways if you wanted any attempt to recoup this year into something. But Rangnick... I don't know.
Let me ask you one final question.
Yeah. It would have been better rolling with Carrick. That's my hot take.
Harry Maguire is a stock. Are you buying or selling?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. At the price that it is to get in, I'm buying.
Yeah, I agree.
If it was Euro 2020 stock and he converted the pen for England in the final and everyone's Harry, then
he did score his penalty.
no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying that was like the pinnacle of it.
Okay.
I probably wasn't buying in
You
that.
said if.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm talking this hypothetical buying, not buying.
Okay.
At that moment when it was at the highest of highs,
Yes.
I couldn't have bought in because even that was too good to be true.
Right.
But right now, he stinks, but this is what Maguire does. It's like it's hard to compare it to other, because no one really talks about soccer, but it'd be more like an NFL where there's that range of like quarterbacks, which like they're just pretty decent. But then people sit there and say, oh, he sucks, or oh, he's really good. And it's like, no, it kind of just is what it is. Like, I don't think Maguire's absolute world class because he's so error prone at times. And you saw in this game when he got absolutely just like turned around for like no reason. He's like lunging with his back leg. He's really good. He should probably be United's second best center back is what I'll say. If they're challenging for the title and they're challenging for Champions League, he should be their second best center back.
I think there's a world-class player in Harry Maguire. I don't think he's suited for a team where you have guys who are me before the team and have a lot of them.
True.
He's pretty much like an ultimate team player kind of guy.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's the captain.
Yeah.
Yes, he's error prone. There's a lot of pressure on him. Doesn't get much support from the midfield.
No, that's another main thing too, is why I can't shit all over him. They don't have a 6.
Yeah.
Who's out there? Pogba, Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, McTominay. That's your midfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the best of center backs, if you leave them
Fully
isolated,
exposed. Yeah.
they're going to look terrible.
Yeah, you're going to be Jerome Boateng circa 2016 where Messi's dribbling past you and you're falling over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just what it is.
Defending is a team effort, and we know United don't have that in them. I think a lot of people put way too much blame on Harry Maguire when it's
100%.
unwarranted. Like, yes, he makes mistakes, and obviously he shouldn't be making those mistakes, but I mean, I think there's bigger issues than Harry Maguire.
To say the least.
Yeah, it just seems weird to like point out Harry Maguire like, oh, look at him. He made an error here.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's because there's no defensive midfielder. And we got like Fred and Bruno.
Even your wide guys right now, like Shaw's kind of starting to get a little back into it, but that's more going forward or playing passes forward. Like, he's still not
Shaw's
spectacular.
always pushing up.
Yeah,
far.
he's not spectacular defense. And Delo, same thing. He's able to kind of push it forward, but as far as defense, he's not a gem out there.
And he's on the other side anyways.
Exactly, but just in general. And Varane, he's looked a little toast at times this year. But then again, you could say, how many times has De Gea bailed out Maguire?
Yeah.
So it goes all the way around with this United squad. There's never just going to be one thing about them.
Yeah.
But they have to get someone to be a holding midfielder. It's unbelievable. And then, you see Van de Beek and the way he's playing at Everton these first couple games. It's like, why was he not being rotated in for McTominay? Like, what, McTominay's your 6th? You give me a break. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
think he's a guy who needs a good team culture to excel. We saw that in the summer with England.
Yeah.
The team had great chemistry, and
even
he played
his
fantastic.
time in Leicester. He was a good player, and Leicester's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's better off staying away from all those.
But still, I'm on the brink. Buying or selling. We don't know.
I still really...
With how low it is, though, like he's not as bad as people say he is.
Yeah, I still think he's one of the best central defenders around. But anyways,
let's see. Southampton, good result. I'm glad that we just went over the top and went in the Man U stuff before we even talked about their last game.
Yeah,
it needed to be done.
They played too much.
Too
many games.
You played too much.
Too much.
Team that doesn't play enough. Crystal Palace. I love seeing them.
Yeah, moving on to Brentford versus Crystal Palace. Brentford lineup: Raya, Ayer, Pinnock, Janssen, Henry, Norgard, Canos, Jensen, Janelt, Jan Wissa, and Mbumo. Still no Ivan Toney, out with a calf injury. For Palace, Guaita, Ward, Mitchell, Gahey, Anderson, Hughes, Schlupp, Gallagher, Ayew, Wilfred Zaha, and Edouard. So
the one chance he had in this game was spectacular.
some some rotation out there. Yeah, this game was
It was a very awkward game.
not very good.
No, I feel like we'll get into everything. I felt like Brentford would have won this game if Tony played. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
15th minute handball shout against Gahey. Ruled a foul first.
I guess if it's a foul, but I mean,
It's
when you
not.
watch it, it was like, well, first off, that's a handball. That was apparent as clear as day. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna call the foul first, but even then, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't like that call. And then 31st minute, good chance for IU, and he just shoots it wide. I mean, shooting it wide,
is generous.
Yeah, that's
I'm surprised
generous.
that he probably just didn't want to type.
It's more like he
It was a
slowly rolled
Ramirez.
it.
It was a Ramirez.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought Brentford in this game, and I mean, we can finally see they get Raya back. Ayer's finally coming back.
Yeah, Raya is a big boost.
Their defense maybe won't be quite as poor as it was for that little stretch. And by little, I mean damn near 1/3 of the season. But, I mean, getting those guys back, it might be enough just to keep them up. And then you kind of just tread water and maybe add some pieces in the summer. But at least, the defense doesn't look like completely terrible these last couple games. Even against City, it didn't look terrible, so.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. Sometimes it's better to solidify the defense
Yeah.
and then focus on the goals later. But I do think,
Not to mention, most of your attack anyway is just going to be through chances on, crosses and whatnot. And
Yeah.
if guys are in the right position, get headers or, flick-ons and you get some tap-ins. But
I do feel concerned about Brentford's level of play. Offensively, they don't score nearly enough goals.
yeah,
They don't really get Ivan Toney involved enough.
I'm wondering if, and I mean, they'll have Eriksson coming in. Any way they drop Mbuemo and have Eriksson kind of go a little more, I guess he'd be like false 9-10 kind of role. So he's helping out a little midfield.
Yeah,
Because that's not really what they do now with Mbuemo and Tony. They're always pressing anyway, so the work rate's high, but
right.
it'd be a different position from what Mbuemo does.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely give that one a go. You need some sort of link up. I mean, there's always just been kind of a disconnect.
Well, Jensen and Norgard are solid players, but they're clearly defensive-minded first, and they don't have much attack to their game.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Kanos does as a wingback. Roslev, I don't know what that guy does exactly.
I don't either.
So, yeah, I mean, your only real attack-minded guy in the midfield is Kanos, and he's just on one wing. And sometimes he's pushing forward almost like he's getting the chance as striker. So, I don't know. I agree. There definitely has to be a midfield presence that has an attack sense, and hopefully Eriksson does that for him.
Yeah.
Once he's healthy enough, and they get him out there.
Yeah, I'd like to see him sacrifice that second striker because clearly it's not paying off having two strikers.
No, it is not, to say the least.
I
right
mean,
now.
most of the time those guys have very little usage throughout the game.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean,
just kind of a wasted.
yeah, they have a little work rate, but that's
I mean,
not enough.
not saying
That's-
they don't work hard,
yeah,
but in terms of getting the ball to them, it's just not worth it to sacrifice a spot in the midfield for an additional striker.
that I completely agree with.
If you had more going forward and more opportunities, and it's like, we really need someone to put these home,
Yes, then sure.
then it would make more sense. But at
But like
this
I was-
point, it's like, man, we're really lacking goals and attacking.
Like I
threat.
was saying, with their current setup, their best chances generally come from whether it's long throws or
Yeah.
crosses, set pieces. So your center backs are going to be good enough most times for your chances. So
Yeah. So, anyways, this one, 0-0. I think that says enough.
yeah, it does. It was unfortunately not a very exciting game, which makes me sad.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game. Everton. Oh, wait, no. Is
Yeah.
it Everton?
I thought so.
Where am I?
Yeah, it
okay.
is.
Everton versus Leeds. Sorry.
Lights.
Going to the lineups. Everton, Pickford, John Joe Kenny, Mason Holgate, Michael Keane. Seamus Coleman, Alan Iwobi,
Oh,
Mad Lad Frank Lampard, Anthony Gordon, Donny Van de Beek, Richarlison, and Calvert-Lewin.
looking at this lineup, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, Iwobi is hot garbage, but we already know that.
But this game,
John Joe Kenny, I think, is also hot garbage.
yes. I thought you could Holgate throw him in there.
Teetering on
No, he is.
hot garbage.
He is for me. Throw him in there.
Michael Keane has been largely hot garbage, but attacking.
I like the Allen as the base of the midfield, and then, fitting 3 other midfielders around there. Say what you want about his selection of them. I like that Gordon's in there,
Yes.
along with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin,
Yes.
and he also got Donnie in there.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
I already know you're going to be limited in terms of your defensive options, so Mr. Kenny and Holgate being out there, whatever. But maybe, completely different guy, but maybe even perhaps Dele Alli instead of Iwobi, or
That's exactly
Mr.
what
Gomez.
I was thinking. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. So, but I don't mind it, Frank. You have my approval. You always have my approval, Mr. Lampard.
Moving
Leeds.
on to the Leeds lineup. Melier, Robin Koch
He's
in
back.
the back 3. At least it's not defensive midfielder, but it doesn't really work out. Llorente, Struijk, Aileen, Stuart Dallas, Rodrigo, Click, Rafinha, Dan James, and Jack Harrison. So getting into this game, starts off pretty fast. Anthony Gordon with a good chance. 2 minutes into the game, doesn't really get clean contact on the ball. Really good chance for Everton
Yeah.
to score right off the bat.
Everton in this game, the first 25 minutes they were killing it.
Yeah,
They were really on it.
it was very surprising to see Everton come out with that kind of energy.
Yeah, like white on rice out here. And Gordon not taking his chance. Obviously, that'll it's gonna happen. He's not a world beater, not a elite player yet. So
And some credit to the Leeds defense for getting something on it.
Yeah. Though, they had their work cut out from this game, to say the least. The Leeds defense,
Yep.
because there was nothing in attack to help them out.
10th minute, Seamus Coleman comes flying in off a deflected ball from Calvert-Lewin. Seamus Coleman flying in with
Yes.
the speed of 1,000 suns that he's going to score this goal.
This is a nice, well-worked play by Everton, I thought, actually. Great run in behind from Donny van de Beek, and then plays it across. Weird deflection on the Calvert-Lewin off the defender over
Alley-oop.
Melier. Yeah. And like I said, Seamus
Seamus
comes in.
Coleman with the dunk. Get dunked on.
And Leeds, they came down, had a chance.
We were talking about Rodrigo earlier,
Yeah.
and I said he hit the bar twice.
Yes.
That was actually this game.
Yeah.
That he hit the bar twice.
Yeah.
So, for all those people who were like, Rodrigo didn't hit the crossbar twice, you're wrong.
Well, here it
I
is.
redact my prior statement.
Yeah. But he's still good last game. He's still really good this game.
Yeah.
At least, maybe he'll get it going for you, Leeds. That could be your one bright spot this year.
Yeah, this volley he had 18th minute,
That would have
smacking
been
the crossbar.
filthy.
Oh, that might have been.
It looked like it was about to
Puskas.
hit the underside of the bar, too, but it smacked right off the middle.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But then, Everton, 23rd minute, 2-0. Michael Keane
Mr. Norwich City own goal himself
scores from the corner.
gets his own goal for his team.
Redemption arc for Michael Keane. Rest of the half,
Rodrigo. with the second
Rodrigo
one.
has another effort that hits off the post. So disappointing for Leeds not to have scored one of those, but overall Everton looked like the better team.
Yes.
Leeds really couldn't get much going in attack,
No.
and they looked more like they had, kind of the first half of the season where it's just like things aren't really clicking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just games where, they can't get even, Harrison involved. And Rafinha this game, I don't know where he was.
Yeah.
So, struggle, to say the least.
Goes into halftime, 2-0. Great start for Everton.
Yes.
Second half, Again, Everton, pretty comfortable. It was very strange because it was like, am I watching Everton? This is Everton. It just feels
the team
very
that just
different.
lost to Newcastle. That's how hot Newcastle are.
It feels like a very different team and a different kind of mood around the team.
Mm-hmm.
Just having Frank Lampard come in and breathe some fresh air into this club that so badly needed it.
Yeah.
A lot of toxicity coming out of that club. So 78th minute, Richarlison tops it off. Bottom left corner from the top of the box.
Nice finish.
Great win for Everton. 3 goals. Clean sheet.
Yeah, that's about all you could ever ask for. It might be their best win on the year.
You get Van de Beek starting. It's
Looked
good to
good.
see. Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, it's crazy to think. Like, he can have some sort of spot at United.
Like, that's what I don't get. They play McTominay. It's like, what, McTominay's your 6? No, he's an 8. Just like Donny Van de Beek. It's like, so Donny can't play? It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whenever he did play, just like what they had him out against Watford in Ole's last game, he came out and got an assist right away. Like, I just don't get it. It never made sense to me.
Yeah, never got a fair shot out there. The Dele Alli thing, yeah, very questionable. Iwobi, even though they won, he still looked like trash.
I don't know, bro.
He runs around like a headless chicken. Like, he's just like
he's like the
sprinting
attacking
around.
Nigerian Danny Ceballos, where it's like, well, where is he? And then what is he doing? He touches the ball and does like nothing with it. And you're like, okay.
Except his thing, he'll get on the ball and then he'll immediately start sprinting somewhere. Doesn't necessarily mean the direction of the goal, but he starts sprinting and he's just like frantic. And it's like, bro, calm down.
40 mil. No refunds.
Calm down.
Still no refunds from Arsenal.
So, yeah, good win for Everton. 3 points secured.
Oh, man. Here's another 3-pointer for one side. It's Watford. And it's
Watford
Brighton.
and Brighton. Watford lineup: Ben Foster, Kamara, Cathcart, Femenia, Samir, Tom Cleves, Sissoko, Kuchka, Kayembe, Josh King, and Dennis. For Brighton: Sanchez, Webster, Dunk, Veltman, Tariq Lamptey, Kukurea, Gross, Lallana, Motor, Maupay, and Danny Welbeck. So a little bit different for Brighton.
Yeah.
Mixing things up.
Same thing pretty much for Watford with the 4-4-2.
Yeah.
I'll say out of all their guys, and they haven't been like super impressive, but they haven't been like super bad, I think Kamara is the most impressive out there.
Yeah, I agree.
He puts in a good shift, gets some interceptions, makes some tackles. That's about all you can ask for out of him. He's
Yeah.
a proper fullback. He's not really going forward a ton.
Yeah, nothing glamorous, but he does a job, and that is appreciated in a Watford defense.
Where there's not much to appreciate.
Getting into this game, first half, Brighton working the ball around, Watford defending pretty well, Brighton not really creating too many clear-cut chances.
It felt like one of those games where Brighton wasn't going to take their chance and that they're just going to be too conservative. We've seen it a lot last year and then once or twice earlier in the year where it's just they're passing around and they're constantly going like back or only to the side, and it's like
Yeah, and it's like way too much sideways.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, going backwards.
yeah,
Very
it's-
disappointing.
Those would be the two things with Brighton. Well, one of the two things. One is when they get too conservative and it's too much sideways, too much backwards, or two, when Trossard catches a burner and gets in form, and then they're just like, okay, we're just only going to go through
Yeah.
him. And it's like, well, no.
You're like force feeding
Yeah,
Trossard.
I don't like that.
Watford looked like they could maybe hit on the counter, through Dennis. That's kind of their MO, but didn't work out in this game. Brighton pushing the ball, trying to get into dangerous areas, but largely outside of the box. But 43rd minute, Lamptey with a beautiful ball into the box for Neil Maupay. Gets enough on the volley. Kind of a
That was very
strange
strange.
shot.
It was, I feel like it was scuffed,
Yeah.
but it was the perfect shot. Ben Foster, how much he could do upper 90.
It was almost like he volleyed a shoss.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, strange. I guess, whatever works.
Whatever floats your boat there.
Whatever floats your boat there, Neil Mopey. Goes into halftime 1-0. And Watford are saying we need to do better on the forecheck. Watford really get their good chance through Dennis. Hits the crossbar from 8 yards out. You want to see him finish that one.
That was an insane run. He kind of had all the bounces go his way. And I didn't even think it'd be high enough for the crossbar. I thought it was just going to go in. Rattles right off the crossbar.
Yeah. Disappointing not to score on that one. Second half was pretty different because Brighton let off on the possession and they were more trying to hit on the counter.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I mean, when you got guys like Cucurella and Lamptey, they're more suited for a counterattack.
Especially Lamptey.
Yeah. And there's not a whole lot of concern about Watford scoring.
Mm-hmm. Especially through possession.
Yeah. Wrapping up the game, 83rd minute, Webster scores the second off of his own rebound from the corner. Tough break for Watford. 2-0. Brighton pick up the 3 points. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done.
Yeah, that's been the story of Brighton's season. Get wins against teams you should win, and then if you're not on it that day, they somehow still manage to get draws. I mean, that's about all you can ask for. It's pretty impressive out of Brighton, and that's, it's a job well done by Graham Potter. I feel like people don't talk enough about how he puts out the right lineups and the right strategies. I'd say he's one of the top managers in the Premier League.
And also, too, he's lost some influential players in his lineup. You got Ben White and Dan Byrne.
Even throughout this series, lost Basuma for that little stretch, which they definitely didn't look as good, but
managing with Neil Maupay.
Hey man, Neil Maupay is gonna have like 15 goals once he gets hot this year, dude.
Well, we're running out of time.
Speaking of getting hot,
Speaking of
not
getting
Norwich
hot,
City.
It's definitely not Norwich. They're dead. This game was dead. As anyone would have predicted that this game would
I
have
don't
been.
know. I messaged you and said Norwich City, big win incoming.
Big win incoming, and that
Immediately lost 4-0.
Yeah, you cursed them. How dare you? Norwich lineup: Gunn, Aarons, Gibson, Hanley, Brandon Williams, Billy Gilmore back in the lineup after a little injury issue.
Yes.
Lees Malou, Kenny McLean, Rashitsa, Timo Pukki, and Josh Sargent returning from illness.
A little more like their, regular lineup, or what you would think would be their regular preferred starting 11. Maybe they'd want Placheta out there or Norman, but
Yeah,
I think given how it's
Ida, but he was unavailable for this one.
True, but for the most part,
yeah. For City, Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Zinchenko, Gundogan, Silva, Fernandinho, Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, and Phil Foden.
little rotation there out of Mr. Pep.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it makes sense.
Yes,
But
you can get away with it. Believe it or not, your insane bench, you can get away beating Norwich.
yeah, this one went pretty much how you thought.
It's just surprising City didn't score sooner.
Yeah, really, they were putting on the pressure, as you would expect. 31st minute is where they break it open. Raheem Sterling. A very nice goal, you have to say,
Yeah.
coming in off of the left-hand side there.
The tap-in merchant with the little curler
Yeah,
gets an
respect.
actual goal. It's unbelievable.
Respect. 48th minute, Phil Foden gets a goal right after halftime.
Yeah, nice bit of skill there from Foden. I thought he looked really good this game.
Yeah,
To-
he looks solid.
Pull it in kind of away from the defender from like point blank. Easier said than done.
Yeah. 70th minute, Sterling adds a third, his second of the
The
night.
literal tap-in merchant, back post wide open. Norwich City, tremendous marking.
Lay tap-in merchant is going to tap in.
What are you going to do?
And then 90th minute.
The pen.
There's a penalty.
Of course, they give it to Player of the Month of December, Raheem Sterling.
They give it to Sterling. Steps up for the penalty. Saved. Scores off his own rebound to go down in history as the worst hat trick in Premier League history.
Yeah, 100%.
It was so garbage. I mean, the first goal was good, but the other two, that was trash.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Wow,
Sterling, so good.
I can't believe people think that he's still good. It's unbelievable. I would say the only good thing about City in this one, nice rotation, good result. Anytime you can, get Ake and Zinchenko out there and they, they're looking all right. That's about all you can ask for.
I was thinking about this. It's like, surely there's got to be some of these guys that aren't getting as much playing time as they would like to. And
who do you think? Maybe Gundogan? Or who? Because he played in this one.
I feel like...
Go to the bench real quick.
Even
Liam Delap.
This is going to sound like a crazy take.
De Bruyne?
De Bruyne.
Yeah. No,
Is
they
there
rotate
a
him.
universe where De Bruyne wants to be more of the guy
No, I don't think so.
rather than a guy?
No, because it's part of his personality.
Yeah, I agree. It's part of his personality. You put a different player in that position who's got that caliber of skill.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
It's just about frame of mind.
right.
I mean, you couldn't catch Ronaldo sitting his ass on the bench against Norwich City to pad his stats. There's no way.
Right.
But, I mean, De Bruyne, he knows that he's going to be the bell cow for when it matters most in these big games. They're going to have to go through him, so
Yeah.
I think that's all he really cares about.
Yeah,
is
I'm just wondering, does there come a time where some of these
Go
guys
up.
start wanting to leave?
Well, there were
maybe a
were talks
Gundogan?
about Mahrez, too, for a while. Remember that? And then
Mahrez.
they sold Sane.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it makes sense. Mahrez would make sense. I feel like he's getting older.
yeah.
They can move on. Zinchenko is one I could see leaving.
Yeah. None of these guys I could really see on another Premier League team, though. It'd have to be in, like,
Yeah.
Italy or Spain or
Yeah,
something.
I could see Gundogan moving to a different team, potentially. I don't know. That was just kind of something I was thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
if I was a player on this team and it's like, what if you just want to be the guy? Man City doesn't have a guy.
No, they don't.
And, maybe that's why they're so successful.
What
is
about
that
Jack Grealish?
they don't have a guy?
Are you asking
he's-
for a move?
He's a guy that I was thinking, like, maybe a few years down the line, like, it just doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a player. His attitude is more
Me.
of the guy kind of style.
Yeah. I always thought that Villa was still the best fit for him. And maybe a club as big as, like, Tottenham or Arsenal,
Yeah.
in that realm, even maybe like maybe a Chelsea, but probably not even. Just saying, like, blank slate, not with the teams they have, but, like, if they
Yeah.
were in a position to buy him,
Yeah.
then it would have made sense. But
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he would have been a good fit at Arsenal. Tottenham.
where's the Nicolas Pepe and 50
Interesting
mil
to see.
swap? The Bleacher Report
Yeah,
tier
make it
rumor. Pepe and £50 million for Jack Grealish.
Maybe Jack Grealish would fit in on Tottenham.
I think he would.
Because he could more hard carry their offense,
Yeah,
kind of like what he did for Villa.
I think so. I don't know if he'd play well with Kane, but
Yeah, but interesting, something to think about
absolutely.
moving forward. I just feel like if I was on Man
City.
City, it's like, yeah, winning is nice.
But I mean, at some point, like, I think you're right with a guy like Gundogan. If it was me personally, like, I would want to be playing more. But if it's like when Fabian Delph was on City, it's like I'm
Right.
chill.
Right,
I'm chill.
exactly.
I can do the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup if
Right.
you want me to.
Yeah,
But no, like Gundogan, he's still a world class player. So
yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to be playing like, 60% of the games.
but then you show me the wages, and I say, okay,
Okay.
okay, Pep.
Yeah, I guess, it's
Wherever
hard
you
to
need
say maybe these guys who are a little older get more complacent and they're fine with
True.
a lesser role. But anyways, just a thought. But
True. What do we got next? Burnley, Liverpool.
Burnley versus Liverpool.
All right, this one was a doozy. The lineups: Pope, Tarkovsky, me, Roberts, Eric Peters, still the first choice out there. Josh Brownhill, Aaron Lennon, Mr. Westwood, Cornet, Wout Weghorst, Jay Rodriguez.
Well, they're missing Taylor.
Yeah, he's out hurt. This was the first game that Mr. McNeil didn't start. Did you know that?
Oh.
He was off the bench. Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, Firmino, Mane, Salah. That was a little strange, the Liverpool midfield selection. I mean, you would probably say that's their best three midfielders right now, but it's like you're going to use...
Against Burnley.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. But I mean, Thiago's been playing well too, but...
Yeah, it seems more of like a Oxlade-Chamberlain or a Thiago...
Yeah.
Maybe even Milner if you're going for some rotation.
Yeah, you put Kelleher out there as the fullback.
Yeah.
It's the outfield player. I mean, as you would suspect coming in this one, it was pretty clear from the onset Liverpool would just have to generate a goal from possession. I mean, that's pretty basic, you would have thought, with Burnley sitting back. But Burnley kind of, was a little open at times for Burnley. They're pushing forward, given the fact that Liverpool's defense has been opening up kind of recently for some reason. But every time they did early on, they were offsides. There was at least like 4 or 5 where Burnley's just offside. It was terrible.
It's like that game against Brentford. Chris Wood was offside so much.
Yes. Around the 15th minute, good shot from Brownhill. Probably the best chance of the game at that point. Penalty shout around the 21st minute for Liverpool. But springs into a Burnley counterattack, which resulted in a terrible, terrible shot by Wout Weghorst. Cleared out for a corner for some reason. Do you remember that one, that shout for a pen for Liverpool in this one? It was kind of forgettable, but I was surprised that they even that they didn't get that call. That seems like something Liverpool might get. It was like Salah, edge of the box, dribbling forward, and then he had I don't know, he kind of touched it into space, and Weghorst was just sprinting back to get on the counter.
Yeah.
He didn't know where the ball was and just crashed into Salah. They didn't call anything.
Yeah, surprising. Normally those are...
That's how I felt about it. And they didn't even check it or anything. It was strange. And the announcers were crying about it. Big saves by both keeps in this one, both Pope and Alisson on top of their games. Especially, honestly, a few of the shots could have easily been scored, but because the saves are of such high quality, it was something to behold. Liverpool's defense allowing Burnley in behind quite often throughout the first half, and just Weghorst not taking chances. Alisson running out and holding up play. And he's had someone on his hip the whole time. And then he eventually just played it out. But he's turning, trying to create space and stuff. It was so funny. Goal comes off a corner via rebound off the original shot, which was straight at Pope, but Fabinho collects it. Shot it, I guess, right at Pope, and then got another rebound, put it between Cornet's legs. So the first half. In the second half, nothing spectacular for the most part. Just kind of Liverpool holding on to the lead. Finishes 1-0. Liverpool getting these results this year. They're the top end version of Brighton in terms of they've been doing a fantastic job. Even if the performances aren't spectacular, they're doing a great job of getting the results.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of solidifying that second place spot. But being nowhere near City.
Yeah. So
they're just kind of in this forgotten realm of the top two.
That's kind of like how it used to be with turn of the century Premier League, and it was the top 6, and then there's just Everton. There's just Everton as the 7th best team, and then there's the whole bottom half.
Yeah.
The 8 through 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Liverpool is doing right now. They're clearly the second best team, but yeah. Moving on. Newcastle, Villa.
Newcastle. Hank loves him some Newcastle.
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
Hank's been officially paid off by the Public
The
Investment
Saudis.
Fund.
Yes, I have, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
He's actually wearing a chic right now. Or not a chic.
A turban?
I don't know, whatever they wear.
A keifa or something like that?
I don't
You know what? I'm wearing a Dubravka goalkeeper kit because he was in net. Fabian Schär, Kieran Trippier. Sam took away the lineups. I can't see what the lineups here. I'll pull it up on my phone here real quick.
It's known as a gutra.
Gutra.
All right, you can have your lineup back.
Manquillo, Dan
You son
Burn.
of a
Dan
gun.
Burn.
Dan Byrne.
Joelinton.
Pains me to see him.
John Joe Shelby, Joe Willock.
He's
ASM,
joined the dark side.
Chris Wood, Ryan Fraser. As far as Villa go, looking at Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Tyrone Mings, Callum Chambers, debut from Arsenal.
Ayo.
Lucas Digne, Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Jacob Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, and Coutinho. In this one, let me scroll to the notes. Both teams struggling to get a semblance of attack going in the first 15. The midfield kind of looked pretty comfortable on the ball, but both defense holding shape well enough that when the opposition pushed closer, the attack just wasn't of high enough quality. I noticed that both sides were pressing. It's a good amount of just giveaways, kind of sloppy at times as the half went on, but close pen call. Willock outside the box after VAR review results in a Kieran Trippier free kick goal on the edge of the box. A little deflection off Buendia, kind of. I guess it kind of went like through the wall partially. Martinez, the announcer said that he should have done better. I don't know if it's going through the wall or if it takes a deflection. It's always going to be tough,
Right.
even though you were in the spot. But
Yeah.
Second half, very much like the first half in terms of attacking struggles. Just like at best getting it into space out wide, but just not doing much with it. ASM, 60th minute, great chance, curls it, pushed just wide. Amazing dribbling sequence, as you expect with him. Villa appeared to score off their first real chance, but Watkins offside. It was so close. It was so close with Kraft being played that it's one of those I wouldn't have been surprised if they didn't do it. But, they got to draw the lines. Villa holding possession, don't get a great chance. Newcastle, I was pretty surprised. They were pushing for a second as the game was winding down. We've seen before where they don't do that. Honestly, as much as I love Steve Bruce, that's kind of when they did it. They kind of just sat back and then they'd concede earlier in the year, and that's like, oh, well, now you got to draw.
Yeah.
But I respect that about Eddie Howe going for it. But it ends 1-0. Newcastle, 3 wins on the trot. Apologies are due.
Yeah. I was thinking about this, why were we talking about Newcastle like, oh, it's going to be impossible for them to come out of the relegation zone? It's like, oh, they bought a couple decent guys and they're a lot better than...
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to adjust. I would say that the thing you need to look at is where they bought the guys. Bruno G, we haven't seen play a ton. Trippier, fullback has to be one of, if not the easiest positions to adapt to if you're going to a new team.
Yeah. And, I mean, you look at their signings, they're all, mostly sensible. Dan Byrne, good signing.
Yes.
Relatively cheap. Trippier, instant impact. Bruno G, we haven't really seen him much. The only one being Chris Wood. It's like...
Yeah, and he's still out to... He's not really doing that well. He's snatching at chances and stuff. He clearly wants to get involved, but...
Yeah, that's just to keep Dwight Gale out of the lineup.
Couple things I want to talk about here before we move on. One, the injuries. One to Trippier. Who knows how long he'll be out.
Broken foot?
Yeah. Manquillo, I was looking for news on him. I couldn't find anything. He went out injured in this one as well. But I mean, that would be massive if they're losing those two guys. Let's see this. Did it say?
2 weeks.
No, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I wanted to talk about, Joe Linton.
Put some respect on this guy's name.
He is out here putting in shifts. What is that?
Yeah.
They buy him to be a striker, but instead he turns into like just an 8.
Just a workhorse midfielder.
Yeah, what is that?
I love
He's
it.
out here getting like a ton of tackles, a ton of interceptions.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, there was the game earlier in the season against United where it was just like he was putting in a shift.
Yeah.
When Steve Bruce moved him back and he was like a left midfielder, not even really a winger, more just like another midfielder. And he's just like pressing and putting in
Think
a
about
shift.
how many guys there are that would have like that price tag or something, and then they get moved away from the spot that they're supposed to be, and they just kind of give up or they'd be pissy about it. And then they move on to some, shitty club in France and we forget about him. We're like, oh yeah, what a loser.
Yeah.
Joe Linton.
Respect.
He's an honorable man. He's a team, not me kind of guy out here.
Yeah. Exactly the kind of player Newcastle needs at this point.
One other thing I want to talk about before we move on. Joe Willock actually playing better lately. Not goal scoring, but, helping out where need be. Kind of doing a little in attack, a little in defense. I mean, that's pretty, it's not exactly what they got him for, but at least he's being productive as of late.
Yeah, I think that's where Eddie Howe comes in. I think he's better at relating to the players than, a Steve Bruce per se.
But once Bruce relates to you, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
ASM, he'll love you for life.
Yeah.
Villa, disappointing game against Leeds. Disappointing here. They had a ton of attack against Leeds, not much defense this game. They had decent defense, but nothing really in attack. You got any suggestions? Maybe get Ings a start or something, just to spark it. Leon Bailey's back healthy. Maybe get him out there with Coutinho or something. Maybe that's a little too much creativity. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like the Ings idea. Watkins just really hasn't been his year.
Yeah. I mean, even in this game, he scored. He took his chance. It was just like by the thinnest of margin offside. That's just kind of how it goes. But
yeah, he hasn't really hit that run of form like he had last season.
Mm-hmm. Which is why they've
brought
had
a lot of rotation, and no one's really been too crazy. I mean, Buendia has had his moments.
Yes, he's kind of fallen off a little bit now after he got hot for that few games.
But I definitely would like to see Ings back in there.
I think Ings with Coutinho would be really, really good.
Yeah, let's see. What else we got here on the bench?
Not a ton, unless you want to throw Ashley Young up at striker. I think they'll have to get Bailey involved a little bit, but I don't know. With Bailey, Buendia, and Coutinho, that's a little too much creativity and not enough end product, maybe.
Yeah.
Those guys still have it in their bag to, score, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, or moving on to this game?
On to the next. On to the next.
Freeze. Somebody tell Tottenham they blew all their points, please. Wolves.
That was brilliant.
Tottenham. Lloris, Romero, Sanchez. Woo. Ben Davies. Woo. Matt Doherty.
Woo.
Harry Winks. Ryan Sessegnon. Bentancur. Be interesting to see.
Woo.
Him. Son. Kane. Lucas Moura. Scroll down for a second. I want to look at this bench here. I get the Højbjerg being on the bench. Didn't have the best game. They rotate him. Yeah, he must. Ollie Skip still hurt.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think he might be their fourth best player, and they have to play him every time now.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, up to Wolves lineup. Here we go.
Wolves.
Sa, Cody, Killiman, Saiss, Ait Nouri, Neves, Semedo, Dendoncker, Luke Kundal, Raul Jimenez, and Daniel Podence.
Who are you?
Mr. Kundal.
Mr. Kundal. He's a bundle of Kundal.
Tottenham, out of the gates, sloppy. And that leads to a goal from Wolves in the first 5 minutes.
Bless.
Result of Wolves winning every second ball. Just The clearances, the playing out from the back, everything from it, sloppy from Tottenham. Eventually goes to Raul Jimenez, puts it far side, 1-0. Tottenham able to possess the ball through 10 minutes after the goal, but no major threat. Wolves' defense just much faster than most Tottenham guys in getting to the spaces where the ball is going to go to. And Wolves did a good job of this game of swarming Harry Kane. Not much he was going to be able to do, whether it be midfield or the Wolves midfield or defense, who's ever marking him at the time. Big chance for Son, which he didn't take from a great through ball on Betancourt. Son, this game was pretty bad. And they were talking about it. The announcers were saying how like he has a terrible record against Wolves.
Huh.
Very strange. I didn't know that coming in. Second goal, Tottenham defense pissing their pants. Cannot play out of the back. Wolves capitalized by crashing. After some comical bounces, the ball was just like pinging off guys, and it hit the post. It went over Lloris's head. Dendoncker crashing in, taps it in. Yeah, and then after that, Tottenham trying to hold possession again. If they lost it at any point, it was immediately a chance for Wolves. Couple shots, I think Podence and Jimenez had a few cracks in net, some saves by Lloris. Tottenham able to get behind Wolves, but it was generally from midfield, and they're just playing long balls all the way up. So it'd just be Son or Kane by themselves, even if they got on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really going nowhere. Your guy, Ryan Sessegnon, subbed at the 28th minute. Not hurt, just subbed off.
Oh, woo!
After that, they morphed into a back four, and they looked a little better. Not nearly as susceptible to counterattacks from Wolves or even just in general holding possession. It looked a little more smooth. Even with all that Tottenham momentum, Wolves come down 35th minute and still, again, almost score. It was truly incredible. Second half, Jimenez had a chance early on. Couldn't get a shot off. I thought he should have got a shot off. Tottenham getting through again. Not able to score. It was very much the same game as it went on. Tottenham just maybe getting to the Wolves box and then just not getting a shot, or not good. If they did get a shot, it wasn't good enough. But, later into the second half, Wolves a bit vulnerable. I'm not sure why. I haven't seen that really all year. There are definitely chances for Tottenham, but the finishing was just not there. Kulusevski had a chance, put one just wide, 80th minute. Romero and Kane both had chances off headers. They're either blocked or saved. I guess my takeaway from this is that Tottenham don't have a defender besides Romero. They don't have one legitimate defender besides Mr. Christian Romero.
And some big news coming out of Tottenham. Antonio Conte
That was
is
great.
not happy with what he signed up for.
Did you? I didn't send it to you, but he said that they got weaker in the window.
Yes.
How? They lost Dele Alli and who? And they gained Kulusevski and Betancourt.
There was someone else other than Dele Alli. Forget who it was. But yeah, I don't think they got weaker.
No, there's no way.
That's an exaggeration, but I don't think they really got better.
No,
I guess time will tell on that.
I don't think Betancourt or Kulusevski are needle movers at the moment. Maybe as time goes on, they can be. They've shown flashes at Juventus, especially Kulusevski. I liked him when he was at Parma. And even with Sweden, he was doing stuff in attack and defense. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. It's kind of weird because he's more of a wide player. Conte had him central. Thought that was strange. But I mean, anything's better than like Emerson Royale or at times Reguilon. Like anything's better than some of these guys. Ben Davies.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get a center back. At this point, you might as well have Toby Alderweireld back there. You might as well.
Bring him back from Qatar.
My God.
Yeah, that's the thing about the winter window is hard to acquire talent. But yeah, it's going the way everyone expected it to. Conte is going to be upset that Tottenham don't spend
He
enough money.
might actually be out at summer.
Yeah, I would not be surprised in the least bit because, it just was destined for failure.
If Inter didn't spend enough for you and they're buying Lukaku, and they brought in a bunch of different guys in terms of even like the smaller guys like Sanchez and stuff for him. They're still bringing in pieces at Inter. Like Tottenham aren't. If they spend, it's not going to be nearly as much because they've been getting burned on Ndombele. They've been getting burned on Reguilon. They've been getting burned on, I guess not fully burned, but like Højbjerg, even though that's more of like what Conte was getting at Inter Milan, these like 15 to 25 million euro guys.
Yeah.
But that's the best you're going to get out of Tottenham now. And not to mention who wants to go there. You can't tell me, I haven't seen a report about it, but you can't tell me that Tottenham weren't trying to get Aaron Ramsey from Juventus because there's rumors of him coming back to the Premier League, and Aaron Ramsey's like, I think I'm going to go to Rangers. Who wants to go to Tottenham? No one.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever go there just because of the Arsenal connection, but I think the point still stands. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to go there?
Yeah,
Gareth Bale went there for like a year, and he treated it like it was a meme.
It's not an ideal place to go by any means, and it's definitely not. They're just too far off of the top to attract real top tier players, and then it's like, yeah, you can bring in some more mediocre players, but that's not going to accelerate you to the top.
No, yeah, bring in more Højbjergs for sure.
Yeah.
Do that. I don't know. They need any kind of center back at this point, and they probably need a 6 because I don't know if you want to rely on Oliver Skip. And you need wing backs because Emerson Royale and Reguilon are just not good enough.
The only hope I see is that in the summer you have the power of Conte's name, potentially attracting some more players. But that's purely on the Conte factor. And it still will probably go downhill very quickly, and then you'll have a lot of players that don't want to be there.
Yeah, which you probably already have right now.
Yeah.
The only guy that probably wants to be there is like Son, because he's a
very
sick,
loyal
twisted
guy.
pervert.
Yeah. Anyways, enough about Tottenham.
Moving on to the team that might replace Tottenham as the big London club.
Yeah, true. Talking about Leicester City versus West Ham United lineups. Leicester Schmeichel. Yeah, we're talking about Leicester's lineup. Leicester Schmeichel.
No, but saying it like it's his name.
It could be. It could be.
That's what
it's
funny.
not far off. Kasper Schmeichel, James Justin, Soyuncu, Marte, Pereira, Tielemans, Ndidi, Dewsbury Hall, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, and Daka. Switching it up again, Pereira on the comeback.
Yeah.
Soyuncu back in there. James Justin subbed
Justin
out
James
in the 31st minute due to injury, so sucks for him in that situation. West Ham, Fabianski, Cresswell, Soufal, Dawson, Issa Diop. No Kurt Suma.
Yeah.
Fell ill during
That's wild.
The warm-up.
I wonder how.
He made me fall ill when I heard that he was kicking cats. You terrible person. Fornals, Lanzini, Bowen, Souček, Rice, and Mikel Antonio. Getting into this game, Jared Bowen does what he does best. 10th minute in, gets in behind the defense.
That was the most stinky poo-poo. When Jop can play it just a straight over-the-top ball and Bowen's in, that's so bad.
Yeah, it was.
What kind of high line are you playing? You think your defenders are faster than Jared Bowen? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it was very poorly defended. Very easy for Jared Bowen just to walk in behind the defense and score the goal.
Yep.
He keeps scoring. Rest of the first half, very much stop-start. A lot of injuries.
Yeah, not a ton of flow to it.
A lot of going down. Not very entertaining to watch. 44th minute, penalty given after a handball from Cresswell. He just
That was a
missed
nice
the
chicken
ball.
wing.
Missed the ball completely with his head and chicken winging his arm out there. So, clear penalty. Tielemans steps up, converts the penalty just before halftime. Goes into halftime, 1-1. Game started to get better towards the end after, once there got a little rhythm to the game, but there wasn't much in the first.
I felt bad for West Ham in terms of it's like, oh man, you need this, and then you go and give away a penalty right before half, and it's like, oh, this would be one where Leicester somehow wins for like no reason.
Right. Yeah, West Ham was in control of the game, but second half, Leicester looked the better team. Some good energy. Harvey Barnes was looking impressive.
He was actually creating chances for other people. A lot of dribbling sequences to get open, and then he was finding people, which I thought, that's a good sign in terms of hopefully he can keep that up, especially if, he's going to be, because he's not really a striker, though, because they have Daka or they have Vardy for the most part.
Yeah.
Sometimes even, I'd say Lookman's more of a striker than a winger at times. So Barnes is going to have to be that creative wide guy at times if Madison's staying central. So it'll be important for him to keep up with that.
Yeah, I think the one downfall that he has is that sometimes you just feel like he could get into space and he just kind of gives up. Like he does the hard work for like 90% of the play, and then he'll just kind of give up on the play, where it's like you want him to keep pushing towards the end line and, get a cross in or pull it back or something.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times it's decision making with him too, in terms of knowing when to play it to your teammate and when to keep pushing to go on to net. And I mean, like we've said on this podcast, he creates a lot for himself, but not for others a lot of times. But yeah, in this game, he was definitely, I felt, making the right decisions, and he had the quality to create chances for others.
Yep. And that showed in the 57th minute when Ricardo scores on a header at the back post.
Yeah, poor marking by West Ham, I thought.
Yeah, very poor marking to give up that space ball in from Harvey Barnes. West Ham just really went through a struggling phase there in the second half where the Leicester press was really getting to them.
Yeah.
And they kept giving away the ball, and they looked pretty frazzled. But eventually they got themselves back into the game. I don't know if it was more West Ham pulling themselves back into the game.
It was Leicester just crapping their pants.
Yeah, Leicester just for some reason dropped off, and the energy wasn't there. They weren't able to sustain it.
You have to rely on your terrible defense to hold the lead, and guess what? They don't.
Yeah.
Mr. Dawson just barging in to the box. Schmeichel couldn't really get out in time. I don't really blame him for that. I'd say it's more the marking. Vestergaard practically whiffed on the header that was right in front of him, and it went far enough to get to Dawson.
Yeah.
So
goes off his shoulder. Past seasons that might have been ruled a handball, but not this season. Disappointing for Leicester. Chance.
Honestly, disappointing for West Ham too. But
Given how the
game ended up going, I guess you have to take it if you're West Ham. But
yeah, really, from a West Ham perspective, Leicester shouldn't have been in this game.
Yeah, but yet they look like the better side for the slight majority, I guess.
Yeah, the first half was.
It was really until like the 40th minute, until like maybe like the 80th minute or so.
Yeah,
was Leicester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So West Ham points dropped. Leicester. More disappointment. It was just a game filled with disappointment.
Yeah, it truly was.
And finally, for the third time tonight, let's talk about Manchester United.
Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Severo.
Didn't know that was his full name.
Well, now we
Learn
do.
something new every day.
United, De Gea, Lindelof, Maguire, Delo, Shaw, Fred, Bruno, Jadon Sancho, Anthony Elanga, Scott McTominay, and CR7 himself. Brighton, Bobby Sanchez, Mark Cucurella, Adam Webster, Lewis Donkiel, Veltman, Basuma, McAllister, Gross, Motor, Maupay, Trossard. Great chances early as a result of slip-ups in each defense of end. neither Motor or Sancho able to take the chance. The Sancho one, again, he's got to score that.
I think it's interesting that they've been kind of riding him the past few games.
You know, he's actually done okay. It's just he's not super efficient with his chances, but I mean, he probably has no confidence.
Yeah.
So he's got to get some of it back to at least get some semblance of where he was. But no, I mean, he's at least getting in the chances is the one benefit, I guess, or the one positive you can take away, but he's got to do better at finishing. A lot of space between the midfield and defense when each team was in like an attacking frame. I thought that was a little strange. Yeah, and just the attack's not really able to exploit that layer, get in the right spaces, I thought. But Brighton working a lot outside. United, as far as attack, I don't really know. They were trying to go central, but it seemed like they kept giving the ball away. Motor and Basuma both with chances before half. Motor's chance wasn't too crazy good. Basuma could have really, but I mean, you don't expect him to have the finishing. CR7 goal to start the second half off. Just a nice run. Takes it himself. Brighton will give away, and, Ronaldo. He breaks the duck. Finally scores. After the goal, Brighton caught out again, and as a result, Lewis Dunk sent off for a challenge on Elanga, which prevented him from a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Right call?
Yes.
Okay. Man, you feel comfortable, but only, I mean, I don't know. It felt comfortable, but it was more Brighton were just kind of out of sorts. 2 big chances for Ronaldo off a header, and Bruno in a 2-on-1, but a big save by Sanchez. That was bad. Bruno had the whole net to shoot at. I don't know how he didn't score. Keeps him in the game. Brighton ring one off the bar at the 78th minute. But Bruno ends it on the counterattack to make it 2-0. Good performance for United. I don't know. I don't know if you can really say good performance. I feel like it was more Brighton out of sorts, especially in attack.
All right, I redact my decision. It was not a red card.
You'd say no? I don't know if Webster could have got
there. I feel like
there.
Webster could have got there.
He could have,
upon further review.
I don't know. I don't hate it. They didn't give him a red at first. They went back to VAR, checked it.
I feel like the fact that there's a question of like whether he could be there or couldn't be there is enough to say
it should just
it's
be
not
yellow.
a clear goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah. Well, they changed it. And honestly, it didn't change the game a ton. I just felt Brighton not able to take their chances. If they're able to take one, then it puts the pressure on United, and they're like, oh, here we go again. But
yeah, for sure.
I felt more comfortable with United's defensive outlook and their frame to their formation in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that they always have to, just like play on the counter, play fast build up necessarily. Like they can hold possession too, but
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have liked to see Brighton put on more pressure against United, especially coming off that run of form.
Yeah. I don't know.
United, I feel like I don't even know what to expect from United. Like I don't know what the game plan is.
I love watching
their
United.
offense. Is just like do something.
That's
do something.
That's what I was saying. When I was saying Brighton was clearly working like the outer edges.
Yeah.
And United's was I don't know.
Yeah.
It's because you don't know it with the United. They'll like try and push it central, but it's like there's not going to be any passing sequence that works, or guys are just like completely on like different wavelengths about how to attack.
See, that's what I expected to change when Rania came in. I expected more structure, but it just seems more the same.
Yeah, it really is. It's more personnel.
Yeah.
I think I'm not saying Ole's vindicated, but
yeah.
It's he's more vindicated than proven wrong, I would say. Mm-hmm. So.
All right, new segment. We're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Give a rundown of a few guys we thought were good instead of a team of the week.
If it's just a regular match week, we'll do team of the week. But when there's a bunch of games, and I mean, it's coming up here, we'll have a bunch of makeup games. We're just going to have some guys that stand out to us.
Yes.
We're just going to go with about 5 or 6 each. Why don't you kick off your list?
Number 1, I got to say Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
The man who cannot be stopped. I'm waiting on next international break. Jared Bowen has to be a call-up for sure.
Yeah. Were you just going to run through your list, or did you want to bounce back?
Sure, I'll give you another one. Kieran Trippier has been instrumental revitalizing Newcastle into their wonderful form.
Yes.
Number 3, Donny van de Beek.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have so many of the same guys. We're going to have so many of the same guys.
He stepped into Everton,
and he makes it happen.
And he makes it happen. It's good to see after, a long time struggling with United, sitting on the bench and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely feel you on that.
And then I would say a couple more are Coutinho,
yes,
for sure. And then I'd even throw in Dan James as well.
Yeah, he had a good couple performances. Yeah, I would say the guys on my list were, and it doesn't mean like necessarily team of the week or these were the best guys for sure. We're just throwing out names that don't necessarily get talked about, but been playing pretty well lately. Donny van de Beek, Rodrigo, Fabinho was another one I wanted to talk about. He's been playing really well. Joe Linton / Joe Willock.
Yeah.
Playing really well as of late. And, we talk about how he bails them out, but, De Gea, too, been playing really well lately. Even Pope, if we're going to go for another goalie as well. And then to wrap it up, someone's got to talk about Southampton.
Someone does, yes.
There's not enough love. You could go Adams or Brozier. We know how good Brozier's been. Brozier's on the scene. People are talking about him going to Arsenal or something. I'm going to go El Nuesi. Last few games, has a couple goals, couple assists.
Yeah, he kind of popped out. He wasn't in the team for a while. Wasn't starting, but
back in.
Now he's back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, before we get to predictions, since you're Arsenal supporter, Brozier? Yeah or nay?
I would love it, but that is never going to happen. That would be insane. I mean, hey, at any point, we're so desperate for any striker.
Anything can
we got
happen.
Eddie and Nketiah as our backup striker.
He's the best around. Nothing will ever keep him down.
Yeah.
All right, 2 predictions. We go. Start off, West Ham, Newcastle at the London Stadium. What are we looking for here besides how will Newcastle look without Trippier?
Yeah, well, how good is Newcastle, and how good is Newcastle without Trippier?
Yeah. It'll be tough to tell. I mean, they'll, because will they have Murphy on that side? Or I guess it might be Kraft. But even then they'll have,
Could be Richie.
It might be both because Manquillo will be out. So they might have to be back to they're relegated back to their regular fullbacks.
Pray for Dan Burn.
West Ham attack hasn't been super, super sharp.
Oh,
Can they get it going? As well as Newcastle's midfield's been playing lately. Can they keep it up against Declan Rice?
Yeah. Declan Rice is so good.
Yeah.
You just watch this guy play, and he's like, it's insane how good he is.
Yes.
He's on a different level.
He really is. What do we got for prediction here?
I'm going to say 1-1 draw.
I'm going to go with that as well.
All right.
1-1 draws around.
I mean, I don't feel great about it because
I don't
Newcastle.
We're going 2-1 West Ham.
2-1.
We're going 2-1 West Ham.
Arsenal versus Brentford, rematch of the first game of the season.
Mm-hmm. Arsenal have this one circled on their calendar for a while.
Yeah, time for revenge.
What are you looking at in this one?
You got to say Arsenal would have to be a big favorite. in this one. I look forward to seeing Smith Rowe back in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
No Martinelli. 3-0 Arsenal.
I was thinking 2. Yeah, they'll definitely, Jensen and Norgard will have their work cut out for them trying to maintain Arsenal's attack. But the way Brentford's defense have been playing, it's looked better. So we'll see. I still trust Arsenal to score. They have enough. And Brentford, I'm not going to count them in until they bite me in the butt on one of these predictions.
Yeah.
Because I would say that, maybe they could catch Arsenal on the counter because we've seen that before with Arsenal where once in a while they'll fall asleep. But I can't do that. So we're going to go Arsenal 2-0. Villa, Watford, another opening day rematch.
Yeah.
I think we have a couple more on here, don't we?
Yeah, could be.
Almost positive.
I don't remember other than like
Man
those
City
2
Spurs
games.
was the first one because Tottenham
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool that might have been like the second game.
Yeah. But anyways, Villa versus Watford. I'd like to see Villa put in a good performance like they have been, except this time don't drop points.
Yeah, Villa's going to have to make sure that, they're not allowing Dennis to be the guy who's on the ball at the very end. If Josh King or something beats you, so be it. I mean, Joao Pedro's been playing pretty well too. And they just got Sarr back, so, Watford will have their attack guys. But I want to see Villa's attack, how they're playing versus Leeds. And I maybe want to see a little rotation out of their squad. I want to see Stevie G kind of spice it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 Villa win.
Same for me, 2-0 Villa.
Also, I just realized before I cut you off, these are all
Yes.
Arsenal, Brentford. Yeah, because Brighton and Burnley played the first one. I don't remember.
I remember Tarkovsky with the absolute barge through
Yeah.
on the corner.
I don't remember Chelsea Palace.
Well, that
I remember
was,
it's 3-0,
that was
but
before Palace became Palace.
I guess.
That was, the first few matches were pretty rough for Palace.
And then Man U blew the shit out of Leeds, and Wolves lost to Leicester because Adama Traore is incapable of shooting the ball. Okay. So Brighton Burnley next at the Amex. What are we looking at?
This has 0-0 draw written all over it.
I think because Brighton lately have been,
Yeah.
I don't know. I might even go with a Burnley. If you're going to stay up, you might have to win this one.
There's no way Burnley's staying up.
But if they were to, they might have to win this one. I'm going to go with a cheeky Burnley 1-0.
I'm going to say 0 now.
Palace, Chelsea. I haven't seen Chelsea for a bit. Selhurst, where Palace love to play.
Chelsea coming in hot after the Club World Cup win.
Oh
the
my
least
gosh.
coveted trophy in all of world football.
Christian Pulisic's such a winner. He's such a winner.
The pride of America.
I like how Havertz pops up for him in these games and these finals, and people that's yeah, Havertz. It's when is he doing this on a cold rainy night in Stoke, as some might say,
Or at Selhurst Park.
It would be interesting to see Chelsea. Palace kind of, not in the strongest of form, but at home. They haven't been at home for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll go Chelsea 2-0.
I'll say Chelsea 2-0 as well.
But I don't feel good about it. Palace are frisky. Liverpool, Norwich at Anfield. Mo Salah's officially fully back, came back. Against he played the Burnley game, and what's that?
I expect pain.
Yeah, I would suspect so. I'm going to go with just 4-0.
5-0.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Southampton, Everton.
This is a good matchup.
Yeah.
I do favor Southampton, though.
We got the new Everton. Yeah, I would say I want to see Everton's attack. I want to see it.
I want to see Iwobi
like
on the bench.
Yeah, I like the two. I always thought that Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison should have been next to each other, or they're clearly the forwards.
Yeah.
So, as far as Southampton goes, can you keep it rolling? You're pretty hot. Can you keep it rolling?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw.
I'm going to say 2-1 Southampton. I think it'd be...
Well, that's where it all goes wrong. Whenever you jump on Southampton.
True. I think it'd be a different story if it was at Goodison.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, St. Mary's 2-1 Southampton. Man City Spurs.
City Tottenham at the Etihad.
City's kryptonite.
Apparently.
Not at the Etihad though.
No, yeah, I can't see this one. I mean, City's just gonna suffocate Tottenham's defense. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna go 3-0.
But that might work into Tottenham's cards when they're being forced.
It depends on if City's defense
go with the low block.
When City's defense sometimes is just like out to lunch and no one's on one half of the field, and you can just play Son all the way through. Then yeah, but I haven't seen City be that susceptible. The last time I saw them where they were like lackadaisical was at Southampton, just like the first 10, 15 minutes.
And it's got to be said, Son and Kane, they're shadows of what they were
normally
in the past.
Yeah. They're not good
Hugely
right now.
disappointed.
Yes. I'm going to go 3-0 City.
I'm going to say 2-0 City.
Leeds, United, Elland Road. United definitely going to be looking to get a little more going in attack against Leeds' shaky defense, but I think Leeds would be saying the same thing. Can they go for it against United's shaky midfield / defense?
I just feel like Leeds always suck against United.
They really do. They really do for some reason.
Oh, man.
I'm probably going to go with a 2-1 United victory.
I'm going to say 3-2 Ronaldo Hattrick.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a spicy prediction. Watch, he's not even going to start.
Wolves, Leicester at the Molineux. This feels like one Wolves would lose for some reason.
Yeah, on paper, you're like, oh, this got to be Wolves.
And then it's just counterintuitive. Yeah, Leicester just shows up and has like 2 world-class goals.
Yeah, you get the Wolves where it's like, wow, this is really unconvincing, and they're kind of like sitting back and not really...
Yeah, I'm worried Leicester might try and just sit back, but if they're going to kind of be pressing to go for it, I trust Wolves' defense more than Leicester's attack, obviously. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Wolves win, but I don't feel good about it. Might be a goalless draw.
I'm going to say 2-1 Wolves.
All right, and then we have a few makeup games this midweek, but we're going to cover that on the next pod, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Coming at you with another episode Tuesday, covering all those matches we just previewed. It's been a long time, but we're back.
It's been a long time coming.
But the podcast
happened now.
It happened now, and it's going to be uploaded. Thank you very much. Winter break is over. We're ready for the second half of the season. Let's go.
To that. Onward.